What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Cornercade. I'm Danny, and tonight, guys, we got a really cool show for you. Another Chill and Chat podcast for our weekly 13th episode. Lucky number 13. Let's go. We got Mrs. Cornercade. She'll be coming around the mountain when she comes as soon as she gets the kids put to bed. So it's one of those nights, crazy as hectic, but that's okay. We got somebody to fill her seat tonight. You guys probably saw him in the thumbnail. It's going to be 19K Fox is going to join us. I'm so excited. I've been trying to link up with him for a while now, and we're finally doing it. So excited. But first, guys, let me say hello to you guys in the chat. So let me pop that up right now. If you guys are here in the building, definitely say hi. Give this video a like. We got 32 people in the house. I'll say hi to the people on my phone because it's not loading on Restream right now. So we have Daryl Song in the house. Dr. Z's in the building. Of course, we got 19K Fox. Me, myself, Steve Sal, awesome dude, just met him today, super cool guy. Bonos Tecmo, TCK911, Pagsham, and Jason, and Game Room Guru. Let's go, man. Oh, the chats are pouring in now. Let's do it. So, guys, without further ado, let me bring in my co-host for tonight's show. It's 19K Fox.
What's going on, man? How you doing?
Good, good. How about yourself?
Hanging in there, buddy. Hanging in there. As you can see, I'm kind of on the road, so forgive my hotel Wi-Fi. It is what it is.
You should have brought the arcades with you so you can set the scene.
I would never get any work done, though. That's the only problem, right?
So funny. So we actually have a lot in common when we start the show. I just realized, I put two and two together. You're always talking about your bourbon, your drinks. Well, we kind of do like snacks and drinks over here. Do you have anything that you're sipping on right now?
Yeah, some smart water.
Oh, yes, let's go.
I know it's not impressive. I know I'm working, so it is what it is.
That's funny. Well, I'm sipping on some Arnold Palmer. Got it in the nice, cool can here.
Oh, nice. There you go.
It's go time. It's go time. So, where do we get started, Fox? There's a lot going on. Let's catch up with you for a little bit. So, I was trying to get with you back on our 1,000th subscriber episode.
Yes.
Timing didn't work out. Fox is always on the road, as you can clearly tell right now. So what have you been up to, man? You've been doing your home arcade. You've been getting that built.
Yep.
How is that coming along? We're all seeing the progress I want to say every weekend, because it looks like you get the weekends off.
Every weekend. Yep.
So yeah, we're getting those update videos. Where are we at now? We got the paint on the walls. We're doing what, the ceiling, and we're doing the carpet?
That's right. So the drop ceiling in place. So to back it up, I knew this was going to be a year of rebuilding for the channel, for my life. We moved from a place that we've been living at for, God, man, I don't know, 18 years. And it was tough to let that go, but we had to. And so when we moved, I knew I had to have a new space. So that was part of the whole process. That was my one thing, right? My one little caveat. It's like, hey, I got to have a space for the arcade. We found this house. It was perfect. And it had an unfinished portion, which is what I was going to take over. So you can imagine you're moving, your family, your kids, your stuff. It's crazy. And then you're working and all that. And then you get settled. And now it's time to focus on the arcade and then just kind of bang that out. At the same time, Arcade1up was kind of having a slow year. So I knew this was going to kind of be the time I really needed to focus super on that and get that thing knocked out. So that's what I'm focused on now. This was a completely unfinished space. So framing walls, all the electrical. The drop ceiling is in place. The walls are painted. The trim is done. I just got the call today about the arcade carpet. They're going to email me the quote. We're going to get that thing scheduled and going. So the plan is before Thanksgiving to have the carpet down, everything done with the exception of a few little nicks and knacks and little odds and ends, and then get the arcades in there. And then I'm actually going to be streaming from the new arcade setup. So it's exciting. I know it's been kind of boring on the channel because I haven't been able to do some of the stuff that I love doing, which is the product reviews, focusing on the changes within the community and all that stuff. But I think this has been important because I don't care what other companies do. I'm going to continue to do this, to be in the community and push forward. And I wanted to kind of bring everybody with me as I grow and change and involve everybody, because without the community, we're nothing.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, these guys here watching right now and subscribing to our channels support us, and that's why we're here doing it for you guys at the end of the day. That's super cool stuff. So now, I always look at this room. How big is this room? Because to me, it looks small, and I'm like, Fox, how are you going to fit real arcades in here and stream out of it?
It's crazy. I know. So it's a lot of people on the videos and shorts are like, Fox, what are you doing? This is crazy. It's like a cubicle. What are you doing? It's like some corner. Well, it is 32 feet by 12 feet wide. And so I had to do some framing around some of the utilities because this was just a giant room where the HVAC was, a hot water heater. It was without form, but I gave it form. And that was that was a big part of the fun of it. So it's 32 feet long by 12 feet wide. It narrows and it gets a little bit wider towards the sort of the entrance there, but I had to cover up some plumbing and all that. So it's actually bigger than you think. Everything that is in my arcade now is going to fit plus some. And I've got some new additions planned. I've got some other stuff planned. Obviously, modding is going to continue to happen. But trust me, it is going to fit everything I have and then some.
That's insane because, like, I'm thinking, like, dude, and you want XLs? Like, well, I can't wait to see when it's done. It'll be really cool. Now, you have a track going along. Is that for some LED lighting or something? What is that?
So, as you can imagine, the unfinished basement, there's a lot of utilities in the ceiling above you, right? So you got water piping, you've got water valves, you've got HVAC, you've got electrical stuff that I needed to be able to access in case there was some kind of an issue in the future. So what I decided to do, instead of finishing it with drywall, I thought I would just do a drop ceiling, and that allowed me to do a couple things. So obviously drop ceiling, you can take the panels out, you can also have different lit panels throughout the entire ceiling. So I'm going to have a couple different lighting effects. I'm going to have a standard LED panel. It's 2x2. And then that's going to be a regular light. There's a switch for that on the wall. There's a second switch on the wall that's black, and that's going to turn on the black lights, which is also in the ceiling. And it's a separate, I talked to a lot of community members. I think it was Highwayman 22. I saw him in Cleveland, and he was like, listen, the LEDs, Fox, you don't want to do that. The strips, that they just don't get off enough light. So I'm going to have actual bulb fixtures, and I'm going to have those. That's going to be a separate switch, so I can switch between the two. So when I'm filming, I can do this. When it's arcade time, it's black lights, it's crazy ass carpet, it's all the stuff in the room. It's going to be a lot of fun. So it allows me to be creative and do what I do for work and bring it home and have some fun.
That's a really cool idea. You're going to have to show us, like, okay, this is what it looks like here, there, and then there. We need all the steps for sure.
Absolutely.
Okay, for some reason, Restream is not having me, like, select on chats here. So chat, I can't bring you guys up, but I got my trusty phone with me as a backup. And we have our first super chat of the night. Daryl Sung, thank you so much for supporting the channel, man. It's a $2.79 Canadian super chat. Really appreciate, man. You always support the channel. I really love it. It says, thanks to Fox again for the MK30th Scream Swap video. Let's go.
Absolutely. That was a ton of fun. And thank you so much for supporting this channel, and the super chats are amazing. And that was a video, that was a mod that I did, and it was inspired by the Real Smile bit. He was very integral in guiding everybody to selecting a replacement monitor for the XL, the 19-inch version. So when it came, so I took the information he gave and I used that to try to find a replacement monitor for those MK30, those I think it's a second generation legacies that had those crappy ass TN monitors. So I went through a little bit of a background on that. I went through 4 different monitors. I would take this, I would research, I would do model numbers, I would buy Dell monitors on eBay, bring it home, it didn't work, throw it away, try again. And I finally settled on the 1917S, which is exactly, well, I'm sorry, that was the 1917S was the other one, but I finally settled on the monitor that I wanted, and that was the one I put in the video. And then because of that video, I was able to make additional videos explaining the differences between all the different monitors, what you should look for. If you get a different brand and you crack it open, this is what you need to find and look for. And that was really, really informative. And what I love is that there were so many comments of the video saying, man, thanks for kind of helping me figure this out, because it's a shame that they use this monitor. And it was a lot of back and forth between community members that were really struggling to try to find a good, suitable replacement for that monitor. And it was super rewarding. It was awesome. And yeah, it was a lot of fun just to kind of go through that process and troubleshoot and kind of experiment.
It's hard doing that stuff because like you said, it's time after time after time. And then you did one for Pac-Mania and you're like, it didn't really fix it.
Exactly. I used that. Exactly. No, you're exactly right, son. That's part of that experimentation, that process. You find the one that you want, and it works in this one. Yeah, Toxin. The 1917S was for the Golden Tee, the 19-inch version of that. I tried to use the same monitor in the Pac-Man, the Pac-Mania, and you take it, you just turn it sideways, no big deal, right? Well, because of the polarization of that freaking monitor, it just didn't give me the results that I want. So unfortunately, I did the video, but I told everybody I just couldn't recommend it at the time. I just couldn't. Oh, yeah. It is what it is. It's a slight improvement, but probably not worth the price. But luckily, Arcade1up stepped up to the plate, did the right thing, and they brought back the beautiful BOE.
Yeah, it's BOE or nothing at the end
Absolutely.
of the day.
Absolutely.
We got another super chat. So I'm sorry, guys, I can't bring them up, but I got my phone. I'll read them out for you. We got Rights Retrocade, a $6.99 Canadian super chat. So we're getting a lot of Canadian love today. Absolutely love it. Thank you for supporting the channel, man. Says, hey, Corner, great show, Fox. If I make a Sasquatch joke super chat in the future, I need you to hit me up with that Justin/B video. Do you have the transitions? Are you able to play?
I don't have no
Ah,
because I know I don't have one with me. I apologize. Yeah, that is Rice Retrocade exactly. When you bring up the Sasquatch, you're gonna get that epic. And of course, now to be full transparency, I have to share a portion of that super chat with B and Justin because they went through
yeah.
hell to make that. That was so awesome. But that was them just listen, that was so cool. They got excited about this idea. We were in Cleveland, we were having a great time, everybody's goofing around. And Justin and B just got super pumped about this idea and they just wanted to do it. It's not even on their channel. I think B used it every once in a while, but they were just so hyped about it. They just did it and gave it to me. And it was just so cool. That's what friends are for, I guess.
Yeah, it
Do
is
it for
fun. It
the
was a
team.
great idea that you're like, hey, let's all just make these transitions. It's actually
It was
really, really
great.
good. Yeah. Okay, let's see. This is really difficult without having the chat. It's a very underrated tool here because I gotta try to fly in.
Absolutely.
Usually Mrs. Corner Kate is sitting shotgun with me right now and going through the chats. I gotta balance both tonight. But I do appreciate everybody being here. Looks like P-Dub's just kind of flew in here. Toxin's been in here saying some stuff. So awesome. Guys, if you have questions, we will get to as many questions as we possibly can. Obviously, for our guests here, 19K Fox in the house. For those of you who don't know, the chat is kind of broken for some reason. So I don't know. It's bad luck. But we're going to fly through here. So where was I? Okay, so the last time that we actually had a conversation on stream, I was using a phone and just
Yes.
spinning around the room.
Yes.
Have I come a long way or what?
No, absolutely. You're looking better than I am. What are you talking about? Those thumbnails are epic. And your video, much better. Absolutely.
I got to make, if you're going to give me permission, of course, I have everybody's, if you're a member of the channel, I have all of like the main YouTubers like faces, and you can put as little emojis in the chat.
Yes.
So if you want, I can make one of you. Okay, let's go.
Yes, you have my
awesome.
permission. Everybody on stream, you heard me say it. Go crazy.
Collect a penny for royalties every time it's
I've got to do
the
thumbnail for this one doesn't work. I got to send you a different headshot, something with a little bit, something different. But yeah, absolutely.
For sure. Okay, so getting into like, I know kind of we were going to talk about the Amazon Prime deals.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure you were kind of excited that, hey, like things are happening, but you're kind of like out of the deluxe game. You're focused strictly on XL. Mm-hmm. Now, what I've been talking, I mean, I don't know how much you kind of watch our channel here, but when me and Travis get on or Michael B, I'll always have these conversations, especially with my wife too. It's like, hey, the XLs are great. The first two, they kind of stumbled out of the gate with, and obviously the monitor issues, and then they came with Killer Instinct Pro, which is not really an XL, but it like is, for lack of a better word. It's just a more expensive XL. And now we got the first actual real XL in the Pac-Man, which you did an unboxing for. How are you liking your Pac-Man?
You know what? For a 6'1" guy, they don't need a riser, and there's something to be said about taking something out of a box and you set it up and you can walk up to it and play. All my other arcades required a 4-inch riser. And I needed a booster seat, and back then they came with risers. So a riser for a riser is something that I planned for in the original arcade. I had a massive 4-inch riser, a big L-shaped riser in my arcade.
You had that whole platform.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I could just put it up there. Man, I'm good to go. I'm set for life. They come in, I can swap them out. But I got to tell you, once you play that for a while, and especially one of the cabinets, probably the XL well, really this could be, I'm going to go ahead and say it. The Arcade1up cabinet that gets the most play in my arcade is still the Golden Tee. Everybody can walk up to it and just play it. It's big. It's the right proportions. But yeah, it's kind of lacking as far as, I've always thought that it was kind of a half measure, the Deluxe. Like they should have come out with the Deluxe a year earlier and then move into the XL, because now it's almost like a weird thing, especially with the pricing. And of course, me, I always got slides on the show. The pricing is so funky now to where if they were like $4.99 and then all the XLs were $5.99. So it's like there was a clear price difference between the two. That would make more sense. But now, because the prices are bleeding over, we have Time Crisis coming out at $750. It's just sort of a weird time right now. You don't really understand. I use the analogy, or the scenario of like, okay, let's say you got a friend and he's or she, male, female, doesn't matter. They're coming into the hobby, and you try to explain to them what cabinet to get, or maybe the thing. It's very confusing. You can't just say, well, get an XL because they're always this price, or get a Deluxe because they're always this price, or well, they got the Classic and it's $299, and you begin to go down this road. It's so difficult for them to sort of figure out. And then if you're talking about, okay, well, I want the bigger screen. Well, there's only like 4 options available, and the pricing is this, but they don't have all the games, and it's kind of confusing. So I think that the XLs are great, but yeah, they are lacking as far as, availability, and also the variety is just kind of isn't really there. They're still charging full price for a Golden Tee with a crap monitor, and it's also been out for several years now. That price should have gone down. They should have released a version 2 that had a BOE monitor. Maybe you could justify that price point. So it's kind of a funny time for Arcade1up right now. And Arcade1up is definitely the biggest player in the home arcade segment as far as recreations, variety, everybody's kind of come and go, but they're definitely the one that is out there on the forefront trying to do what they're doing. Nobody else is really doing that yet.
Yet is the key word. I totally agree. Like, I know you can walk into a Best Buy, so it's weird because you go into a Best Buy, you're going to get different pricing than Best Buy online.
Yes.
So how we got ours at like $315 walking in, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna get Golden Tee. So I got my first hands on an XL. And you're right, dude. All those games are fun. The big one is bowling.
Absolutely. 100%.
Like, my kids loved it. My daughter, who's 3, just was game after game. I actually had to set it on 4-player mode because she'd just be like whipping the trackball and go through a game in like 5 minutes. So.
And isn't the sound great with that cabinet? The bass is there. Like when the ball is rolling, it sounds like it's really happening. Yeah, it's such a good cabinet.
We wanted to love it, and it was like the same height as like, a little bit shorter than Big Blue, but like that screen was just horrendous.
It was really bad, like, right? Horrible.
You're 6'1", I'm 6 foot, so we're about the same there. I had to like literally stand like over it in a certain angle to like really be like, okay, now it's playable. Yeah. With my wife, she's like 5'2". So she's like way shorter, and she's seeing everything like inverted colors and everything. And she's like, the games are fun, but it's just like, this is disappointing at the end of the day. And we got a great deal on it. So it'd be like one of those where it's like, buy now, like those 2 cabinets, Shack Jam and the Golden Tee, they need to be clearance out and just take the L on those and learn and say, hey, look, this is what we're doing moving forward. These cabinets are $299, whatever, $199. Get them out of here and let's move the drill. And the XL variety, so like, P-Dubs, I was going back and forth with P-Dubs on this. I can get on board with the XLs. The thing I can't get on board with is 1 a year. So like I was joking with my wife, we got enough room for 22 cabs in here. So it's going to take us 20 years to build an arcade. Yeah. And I'm not willing to wait that long. When you got titles like Time Crisis coming out, it's like, dude, I want it now. Like, I don't want to wait. And that's the other thing too. It's like, you're going to get this said Street Fighter behind me, right? So now the hype is there. Everybody's talking about it. You want to see it. You want to play it. You want to get your hands on it. Yeah. I got to wait for the XL next year.
Well, and to your point, like if you've already built that 3/4 scale arcade, that 17-inch monitor arcade, these other cabinets fit within that same, size, that scale. And if you did like what I did with the big common riser, it's no big deal. You just put these things up there and away you go. The XLs can seem a little bit out of place. Now, if you've got that next to like a full-size arcade, it's not as out of place. So it is kind of a weird time. It's tough for a lot of people to get on board with the XL because the fact that it's just the availability, the fact that half, and that's another thing to consider, half of the XL line can monitor in it. I mean, and to get a good monitor, you got to buy Pac-Man or Killer Instinct, what's, like you said, is $1,000. So right now, I think it's the future, but it's definitely not what you want to start with to build your arcade. You definitely probably want to stick with the 17-inch. Make sure you grab the BOE. Deluxe is the better of the 2 for sure. I mean, risers, I think, are pretty much dead, with the exception of the people that just kind of buy it and they ditch the riser because they like to sit down, candy cab style and play that way. So I think the community is probably still torn a little bit about the lack of a riser with the Deluxes. It looks good, but at the same time, they want to have that option, especially like with kids. If you want to have this in a room and your kids are young, they're small, there's something to be said about them just being able to walk up to it and just play and at that shorter height. So it's a weird time, like I said, for the company. I know they're growing, they're changing. They need to find a good direction. They've done a lot good in the past, but they've done some weird stuff too. So it's interesting to see as they grow what they prioritize.
I think it's going to be big too with like people like ourselves and like Travis and CP. It kind of just showing them kind of not the way, but what our feedback is to them. Because it's one thing when you're in that building, like, hey, we're doing this right, yada yada. Like behind me on that Street Fighter, the plastic deck protector gone, so underrated. It feels awesome. It feels like a real arcade now. And like I told you off stream, if we can just get the real buttons and real sticks, we are there. $3.99 for Deluxe. We are there, guys. Like, we've made the journey is finally here. And it would have been great if this was 5 years ago.
Exactly.
And now we're talking about cool titles. But hey, the company's making progress. You know, it's very easy for a company to say, like, yeah, you don't know what you're talking about. You're not in this position. We are. So sit on the sidelines and let us do us. And we would have still been stuck with the no light up marquees. I mean, so it's cool that they're letting me. Arcade1up has come a long way. So we shall see. Have you ever played Big Buck Hunter?
I have not, believe it or not. I have not played that one. No.
So we just recently picked that up. Fox, I was going in this with very low expectations. At the very least, I'm like, I could do a review and a live unboxing or something and return it. One of the most fun cabs in our arcade.
Nice.
Hands down. It's got so much replay value. So if you did that, if you got a deluxe one, right? Because it stands 68 inches tall. So we're about where the XLs are. I could see you easily putting a 20-inch monitor in there.
Oh, yeah.
And get a light-up marquee, of course. But those are the two things that's missing. I'm telling you, you would have a blast playing it. I'm telling you, it's highly recommended.
I hear that the elevation, the monitor placement is so much better with this model.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it's literally, I'm looking at it right here. It's perfect. I'm 6 foot, and it's just dead on.
Nice. Nice.
I'm telling you, if it goes on sale or something, and you want to like mod the thing, it has got 19K Fox written all over it. So
I'll have to give it a shot. I'll have to check it out for sure.
Yeah. Let's see. Okay, so XLs now. We got Pac-Man. I'm sure you're going to be coming out with like prediction videos and stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
What do you kind of anticipate Arcade1up coming? Like, you don't see them releasing 1XL next year. There's no way. From the sound of it, easily 4. You know, easily.
Well, I mean, yeah, because what's the next thing? Let's say that the licensing is not dried up, but it's sort of stale right now. I did a video a couple weeks ago talking about, I think the first wave of XLs is actually going to be the riser to legacies. So not the legacies, not the legacy deluxes, the last one that had a riser. So we could see Mortal Kombat 1 as an XL, the Mortal Kombat 1 artwork and all that. That could be one. You could have, they could bring back Tempest, that cab shape, Centipede. You know, I mean, think about it. It's the same PCB, the same 14 games, but you upscale it, you upsize it, 19-inch monitor, obviously, BOE. But then you go with that cabinet shape that is a little more popular. I think the Centipede is definitely something they could do for sure. Tempest. You could do, I think you could probably see a blue Miss Pac-Man because we have the black Miss Pac-Man Deluxe coming out. So if you wanted some separation between the two not the two brands, but the two cabinets, that's the way you want to go. And then I think you start with Mortal Kombat. The outlier last week was definitely Street Fighter. I wanted to kind of throw that out there as a possibility for the end of the year. But I think that realistically, we'll see a Street Fighter Deluxe last of that line. But I think that it will be a rehash, for lack of a better term, but it will be a much better form factor. And it could be the end all be all for the legacy line. I mean, once they make a legacy like they did with Pac-Man, once they make it into an XL, I mean, you're not going to buy anything else. I mean, what else, where else can they go? So I think next year, a bunch of XLs, they start with the legacies, probably in the side art and the cab shapes of those risered legacies. And I don't think there's going to be any new titles. They're just going to rehash them, but it's going to be a combination of, it's going to be a unique combination of things we've seen before, but not in that exact combination. So it will be something different. It'll be a reason to choose that over a deluxe. I doubt they're going to make the same thing. Of course, I say that they did that with Pac-Man. They made the same freaking cabinet. A deluxe here's an XL. You put them right next to each other. You can barely tell the difference. I think Pac-Man is an outlier. I think we can see that. And maybe potentially, I would love to see them revisit T2. I love my T2 cabinet. It's one of the few. I mean, I've modded it, but it's one of the few 3/4 scales cabinets that I still have that I play, and it gets a lot of play in the arcade. I know it's one game. I talked about this in my original review way back when. Way too expensive for one game, but I enjoy the hell out of it. I've modded it a lot. It's a lot of fun. It's a ton of fun. But I think that maybe if you could revisit something like that, if we could see maybe a Ridge Racer XL. I mean, I don't know that we're going to see Sega again, unfortunately. I don't know that there's licensing is an issue. I don't know if we're going to see a lot of new titles next year, but we will see a lot of variations and versions of what we know and love, but in the XL form factor.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, that's with the Sega thing, because I'm on board, like trying to push for Sega Jurassic Park Shooter, Sega Star Wars Trilogy. Like, who
they have the best catalog of arcade games.
Yes,
it's crazy.
It's very interesting. Yeah. So rehash kind of thing. Obviously, an MK XL would be up there. And nothing's really gonna. I mean, didn't I hear like just a few days ago that NBA Jam Deluxe is like out now? Are people getting that? Okay, so just. This is the thing, and you were commenting too. You're like, "Hey, buyer beware," because we just went through this. We need Arcade1up to just get a little bit sooner on the breaking news. Well, so we're not out here as consumers like, "Is this a scam? Should I buy it? Should I not buy it? What's going on?" Waiting. Oh, sold out. Oh, the price changed.
Yeah,
you gotta get to. And this is what I've been talking to Travis with. Like, guys, literally. Hire me tonight. I can take care of this for Arcade1up. Like, it's the left hand talking to the right hand, and it drives me nuts. Like, they need like a bridge gap for consumer relations with the company where it's like, hey guys, tune in tomorrow. We're gonna be dropping something hot. You give the information a day earlier, and then it goes on sale, kind of thing. It's just the surprising, and the timing is just off. So
it's incredibly off. It's and there's a lot of confusion. I was very apprehensive because we just went through this. I forget the cabinet that was on. I think it was the Shinku Hadouken. There was a crazy. I bid on it, right? I tried to see if it would work out, and it turns out it didn't. So all we see, we get no forewarning, no notification from Arcade1up at all. It just shows up. I thought it was an obvious scam because the thing isn't out yet. We didn't know where it was going to go anyway.
That's the thing. It's like, what is this? Like,
we don't know what this is. And not only that, but it's $100 less than we thought it was going to be, or than any other Legacy Deluxe was going to be. Yeah. So this seems shady from the get. And I threw it up on my community post. I'm like, guys, proceed with caution. This is probably a scam. I even checked the address of the place, and it was like the University of South Dakota or something. It's crazy. Yeah. And then it turns out to be legit because a few hours later, Arcade1up came with the email. Why couldn't you do that before? A week before, a day before, something, so we can get hyped? I guarantee you they would sell more cabs that way.
That's what I was saying. Like, I've said this like 9 months ago. I was like, they need to, and I know it's hard because from what I hear, it's like, you can make a double Dragon cab, for example, have everything good to go, the licensing, you bring it to Walmart, and Walmart's like, what the hell is this shit? You got another Mortal Kombat? And they're just like, oh, okay, well, I guess we can just throw this in the garbage. And so it sucks like selling to the retailers, and they got to find that bridge gap where they can like, hey, okay, we came out this far with it. Maybe we can just do like X amount and sell it like at direct, like Dragon's Lair kind of thing. And if it doesn't sell out, we can sell it to the retailers kind of thing again, like they did with Dragon's Lair. I don't know how much they lose off of that or anything, but those niche titles like a Track and Field and stuff, they gotta stick. There's people out there that are clamoring for these like oddball, cuberty kind of titles that like, we're not seeing the same rehashes over and over, because I think that's what's kind of killing them a little bit, is they're going to the retailers, and I'm sure they're saying, guys, like, we've released like 20 Miss Pac-Mans and 14 Street Fighters. Can we just please trust us with this and take said Cubert kind of cabinet? But I don't know. Like, it's frustrating at the end of the day.
When they had Liv working there, and she came from Hasbro, and she was part of the Hasbro Pulse, direct to consumer movement with Hasbro, we had a lot of hope that was going to be something we could see. Standard cabs would go out, they would sell to retailers like normal, they'd be the mainstream titles, but we hoped to see community favorites show up in some kind of an online direct-to-consumer format. It just didn't happen, and it was kind of weird that we never saw that happen at all in any way, shape, or form. I think it's a big missed opportunity to build brand loyalty and also bring something very unique to the marketplace. It's going to appeal to us as the diehards, but it's also something that separates you. The average consumer they see Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat all over the place, everywhere, multiple different ways and companies, and it's almost like they're desensitized when something new comes out and it's Street Fighter. Okay, well, whatever. Mortal Kombat, here we go again. But if
Yeah.
Qbert came out, if Robotron came out, if it was track and field, if it was something different, if someone does a Google search, they're not going to find 5 million different results for that. They're going to find a few, and one of those is going to be Arcade1up, and maybe that is the gateway drug to introduce new people that are maybe trying to look for something, a way to join this community or a different hobby that maybe they didn't know about before. So I think that it would be sort of a twofold thing. Like I said, you would have that introduction, you would have that way to sort of stand out, and then cater to some of your diehards, and maybe you don't sell a ton of them, but you say, hey, listen, if we can get 500 pre-orders, we'll make it, and go from there.
Kind of like a HasLab thing. They did that with,
Exactly.
I was interested in the Ghostbusters Proton Pack. And the thing is, like, if you can get the said level here, maybe there's incentives like, hey, a Pac-Man hat or a hoodie or something stupid. Like, who cares? Like a certificate of authenticity. Kind of like what the 4K at Games did. You get a marquee topper and you get this certificate plaque with more. So that would be cool. You're 100% right with like the gateway drug. We did an unboxing of the Casino-cade, which a lot of people keep thinking like I own the Casino-cade. So I disclaimed that it was my friends who bought it, who was interested in this new product. And it was, what I told a lot of people is like, hey, it's not for us. It's not for me. It's not for you. It's not for any of us, really. What this is for is the Bryans of the world, my friend who got it because he has real casinos at his house, and be like, hey, this might be pretty cool. I can't lose money on this thing. Let me try it out. Danny's always here talking about Arcade1up at work. Let me give it a shot. So he let me do an unboxing, review, and all that. And guys, I was actually kind of impressed with it. It was fun. Like, I'm not saying to go out and buy it at full retail price. Definitely get it on a sale. It's a little bit too high.
Right.
Of a price point. I think there's a perfect $2.99, $3.99 pushing it for the Casino-cade, but it was actually a lot of fun. And I could, my wife jumped on it and was like, 2 spins in, she was like, my mom would love this. So like it was for other people. I don't think her mom, was getting, Terminator 2 and Big Buck Hunter and was trying to get NFL Blitz. It's tailored to something different. And when Brian put it in his house, started playing with it, he's like, I was talking to the wife and she kind of wants to get a Pac-Man XL. That is what Arcade1up is trying to do, is bring a new fan base into their product. And that's something that like they haven't done yet, really. Yeah, you can target to like a younger crowd, like a Fast and the Furious, but there's not a lot of younger guys like in their mid-20s or something that can afford a room of these things. I don't know, it's that twofold that like, okay, is it too old, too young? Like, what are we trying to do? And a lot of your, like, when I watch your show, like, a lot of your, like, questions, it literally, I've already had them written down. It's like, exactly, like, the man's speaking the truth here. So there's a lot of, like, fine tuning. And I hope, fingers crossed, that people like a B Kong, all of us in the community, a Michael B, a Travis MCP that is talking to Arcade1up on a daily, can kind of maybe bridge that gap a little bit. I had one chance. I had Cyrus on the show, so I got to talk to him a little bit before and after. Super cool guy, and like I was throwing those same questions out there. So I saw somebody in the chat, and in fact, if you can keep up with me, by all means, if you see a question in there, throw it out there, read it. Somebody said, I don't know the name because his chat was flying, but he's like, hey, get a light up marquee for Big Buck Hunter from Retro 530. Yes, that is kind of like an ideal thing. I was kind of deciding between the two. Bigger screen, light up marquee. If they have both of those, it would be a 10 out of 10 cab. Even if they had one of those, I think it'd still be a 9 out of 10. That's how good the cab is. But that marquee also costs $200, and that is a lot of coin. So let the super chats fly, and I will definitely do a review video on that. But so as far as XL goes, so when we bridge this gap, because I think, into this year, a lot of people are saying it's going to be a big year. Well, I'm assuming XL. So I kind of threw out there, okay, 4 to 5? We kind of went over the titles right now, and you're getting that's about 4 to 5 titles.
Yeah.
I don't expect them to drop anything new in XL, like a Smash TV or anything. I just don't think that's going to happen. And I don't think it should happen. I think it should kind of come Deluxe first, and then like the year after, follow with the XL. But the XL line has so many titles to choose from. I mean, everything that they've released, they can choose from. And it's still going to be exciting because it's going to be that XL form factor with a bigger screen. So it's not like you're not, that's where the rehashes should all go, is to the XL line and building that base up. So now you got 20 cabs to kind of choose from instead of realistically of one. I don't think anybody's dropping $1,000 for Killer Instinct.
Right.
If it was a $399, I'd buy it tonight kind of thing because I love KI and I'd like to see the cabinet. But
I mean, if you want somebody to buy another cabinet, another version of the same cabinet, another Pac-Man, another Street Fighter, whatever, what's the bigger reason to do that, right? You could maybe drop the price, maybe you could change the artwork, or you could say, hey, now it's available as an XL. It has a 19-inch screen. It has better controls, a different shape, whatever. But XL, that's if they really want people to continue to rebuy the same cabinets, they're going to have to make a big jump. I think also that we're not going to just get XL. We're going to get XL Deluxe. It's going to be XL Plus. It's going to be XL whatever. You're going to have two different tiers within the XL line. We already see that now. You have the XL Legacy. I'm just going to call them XL for now. And that's your $599 cab. But then you're going to have the XL Plus, and that's going to be the $699 cab. We see that with Golden Tee. We see that with, I think we're going to have Star Wars. It's not going to be a $599 cab. That's going to be a $699 cab. But that's going to be your Plus. That's going to be your XL Deluxe, whatever you want to call it. There's going to be two tiers within the XL family. I don't think we're ever going to see Pro again. I think they know that was a foot in mouth moment. If you call something Pro, you open yourself up to all kind of criticism. You're calling it professional. Don't do that. XL Plus, whatever you want to, XL Deluxe, whatever you want to call it. And it's just a higher tier within the XL family. And that's where you're going to get your Star Wars, T2, Ridge Racer, and fill in the blank, right? The other titles that maybe have a little bit of a unique control scheme, and there's maybe some more branding to consider. X-Men, if they came out with a 4-player XL X-Men, you've got additional costs there. Disney, now owns Fox. That's why that cabinet, I think, is so high right now. It's so damn expensive. It's not just the game. It's the branding. It's all that. It's the licensing is really killing them right there. So I think that would be your higher tier cab. But XL Plus, I know Paul hates XL Plus, but it's going to happen, dude. It already exists. It's going to happen. Brace yourself. Get ready for it. But I think as long as they have the XL $599 cab, and that's $599 retail, brand new. If you catch it on sale, if you save $100, if you could pick Pac-Man XL up for $500 on sale somewhere, that's a freaking good deal. That's a really good deal.
Yeah, I hate how it's exclusive too. Like the Pac-Man is exclusive to it's like
Costco,
then I gotta buy a membership
so
to then I'm not a big fan of that. I could see if they did that, but in a different skin, and it's okay, that's kind of cool. But you keep the traditional Pac-Man, that should be Best Buy, Walmart's, your main retailers, and then the Shop Pip goes and the Costco's, all that jazz can get maybe the Miss Pac-Man black and pink or something, a different skin that they maybe haven't come out with, or maybe a rehash. That would be kind of cool too. But yeah, there's a ton of stuff. It's crazy. I think we can all agree at the end of the day that the Deluxe, especially the one behind me, $399 is where it should be at. $399,
absolutely.
And then XL's $599, and what you're talking about is an XL Plus, where maybe it's a Fast and the Furious or an Outrun XL, where it's hey, there's a little bit more to it, so we can kind of nudge it a little bit more. I think that's ultimately there's a thing too with this is Arcade1up doesn't always set the pricing. So the feedback that I'm getting is they wanted that Time Crisis cab, for example, way lower, $699, a little bit lower than that.
Yeah.
And then Shop People kind of looked at it and was like, yeah, we good here. We're going to charge them $50 more. And Arcade1up wasn't too happy with that. But at the end of the day, they're like, okay, well, you bought our stock. So, we're just doing business at the end of the day. But we kind of recommend not doing that. But they did it anyways. And they're like, hey, this is probably a hot new title that people want to get our hands off. If we can squeeze $50 more, what's 50 times 3,000 or whatever? Boom, there you go. So
I think at some point, and the conversation, I think you're right, the conversation with the retailers, because they sell to retailers. They don't sell to you and I directly. They sell to retailers. If the conversation goes on and they know they can't bring that cab to us for $500 or $600, I think you go XL. I think Time Crisis $750. I mean, just general question, everybody in the chat, $750 is way too high. But would it be a little more realistic to say that, hey, I would rather pay $750 for an XL Time Crisis versus the 17-inch model? I mean, if you're going to go that high, if you're going to go beyond $699 or $699 or above, just make them XL. Just throw the kitchen sink at it, because at least that way you feel like you're getting the best that Arcade1up can offer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We do have a super chat. It was actually Dre Gott who suggested that I was like, okay, now I remember the name. But Dre Gott, $1.99 super chat. Thank you so much, man, for supporting the channel. He says, why Big Buck Hunter Deluxe not online leaderboards or tournament play? So this is something that, that was one thing that, and I haven't come out with a review video yet, but I will be stating that in this. The one kind of drawback to this is it doesn't have a Wi-Fi antenna, not online. And all cabs going forward should be online for two reasons. Obviously, if you wanted to give something to the community as like a secret, because it doesn't always have to be new titles. It could be, hey, like for example, behind me, Street Fighter Deluxe here doesn't have the Darkstalker series. So I nudged Travis and said, Travis, get Arcade1up to give us a download patch to be able to get the Darkstalker series on that. There's no reason at this point that cab shouldn't have come out with like said 20 games or whatever to combine everything in the community. So somebody new coming into the hobby, which there's people like that all the time. They watch our review videos. I have comments down below, Danny, because of your review video, I'm going to get this thing, kind of thing. So it's YouTubers like, we're spreading the word kind of thing. So now said person that's new to the community can now play against everybody, Big Blue, Shinko Dukin, Yogan Flame, whatever kind of thing. That was one thing that is takeaway, is there was no Wi-Fi antenna, so you can get updated patches on games, of course, and then leaderboards. So, Arcade1up's trying to reach out more to the community through Michael Ball trades, doing tournaments with Travis MCP and stuff. And it's like, hey, that could have been a missed opportunity. Like, that could have been really cool. Another cab to the mix that you can then do leaderboard chasing, score chasing to have the tournament engagement with. But I mean, how much is it to throw a Wi-Fi antenna in a cab?
Well, that's the thing. Like Arcade1up has gone through. There's been up and downs with me, and I think they're probably not going to reach out to me because I've been really critical of them from time to time. If you go way back to my Sega Revenge of Death Adder cabinet review, I had at the time all the four side by side, and I went through methodically how far we had come and what we were getting for the price we were paying. And if you look at it, if you look at the projection, right, you started out with, TMNT, great cabinet, the first 4-player, awesome, riser but no lit marquee, but okay, but you got that at that price. And then they kind of went up a little bit, but you got the NBA Jam, you got the Wi-Fi enabled, you got the 3 games, all that. Lit marquee was standard. Then they came out with Revenge of Death Adder, and you lost the Wi-Fi option. So you were paying way more. I think it was $150 more for that cabinet, but you got less. And I called them out on that. They have to be consistent. Think about the marquee, for example. Fast and Furious had a 3rd generation marquee on that cabinet. Why did you do that? For maybe somebody brand new, they wouldn't pick up on that. But you have seen this progression. We saw what they did with Mortal Kombat, with that midway shape, with that crisp, some of the best marquees I think they've ever done was that 2nd generation, 3rd generation Legacy with that marquee. So it looks so great to then go back with that cabinet. It's like you've got to be, and this is where some of the criticism comes from, is the consistency. To go back and revisit Big Buck Hunter, you made it a deluxe. Okay, you didn't give us the lit marquee, but if you could have included Wi-Fi, that would have been another reason to buy, and it's those things they have to work on. They have to look at what they've given us in the past and what they're giving us now, and give early adopters more of a reason to go ahead and buy this new version of this cab. It's got to be, you've got to add value. And you're correct, you've got to have a standard. Wi-Fi, for example, should be a standard. Lit marquees should be a standard. And then you have that price threshold. For me, if it's $599 or above, just make it an XL. Make an XL version of it. Maybe we couldn't get it done at that price point with the Deluxe, but you know what? We're going to give you a 19-inch monitor. We're going to upsize this bad boy, and you're going to feel, at least at that point, you're getting more for your money.
Exactly, yeah, because as a consumer, you want the most bang for your buck at the end of the day. I don't think we're ever going to go back as far as those box style marquees. It's just, I think in the production line for Fast and the Furious, I
Mhm.
think it was just like it was weird, like how they were building and assembling it when they came over. So I think they were like in pre-production or something like months ago or something like that, and that's why we got the box style. But yeah, the optics of it as a consumer, I don't know what's going on overseas and if they're building. I don't what it just
Yeah.
it's like, well, how do I like? Oh, you pre-order, you're like, dude, I know because they've been coming out with these marquees. Like, this is gonna look good. This is gonna look good. Okay, they're gonna have this. They're gonna have that. And I'm like, okay, I won't have to worry about, getting a Joe Sable's marquee and save myself $80 kind of thing. And then you get it, you plug it in, it's like, oh man, it's a Boxlit marquee. Like, and that's not something that like is advertised in the description as reverse printed acrylic marquee, which they probably should at this point, just to cover themselves. So we as a consumer can kind of know because
Right.
they
Right.
put crisp monitor in there. They're putting BOE monitor. Like, why not? Just go the extra mile and put that as one of the features kind of thing. Behind me, and I'm just looking at it now, that Street Fighter Deluxe, it looks like, and I could totally be wrong, but it looks like it has the same box light as the Atari 50th that's coming out. It looks like they're using like a white LED strip.
Yes.
So I
Yes.
don't, so because like Mortal Kombat looks like they're more like
Mhm.
yellow. So
Yeah.
it's definitely interesting. Now the anal in me is going to be going nuts now, but it
Well,
doesn't
yeah.
look too bad. But it's like again, like you're upgrading, but it's like it's the same thing with the lit coin doors. So we're
Mhm.
getting cab, boom here, boom there. Okay, let's throw them a lit coin door. Let's do this. Like, what do you mean? Like, if I got two cabs in here with lit coin doors and I have 20 of them that don't, they're gonna look broken. So
Yeah.
like going forward, if you're gonna do it, just do it as a standard feature. Like
Make it a
that's what
standard.
yeah,
Exactly.
because like what Cyrus was saying was, well, we had enough. Like I think I recall him saying like we had enough wiggle room with Atari 50th that we gave you guys coin doors. It's like that's awesome, but just make that a standard then if you're gonna do it. Like, because I could always choose to unplug the damn thing. I can't choose to plug it in if there's nothing there. So
Exactly.
like
Yeah.
just like the Wi-Fi, it's like so we're getting there, but it's just like I think we just got to write all this stuff down on a whiteboard, to like really get the set standard in. Um, I I got nothing else. We were talking about Prime Day deals and
Yeah.
XL cabs. Do you think there's going to be like, okay, so we kind of talked about and brushed up on what we truly think is going to come out in an XL form factor. What is Fox? What is your kind of like wild card? If you were to be a gambling man and just say, hey, this is the one I want. And what do you think? Like, what do you think? What's one that they could do just out of the blue? Like, you didn't expect that coming at all.
I think about like shooters and drivers. Something would be really cool. Something we've talked about before. I give this rumor a lot of credence because of the relationship they have with Raw Thrills and Eugene Jarvis. And he said on that live stream with Travis, he mentioned Smash TV. I think that something that kind of, if we're going to live within this idea of, okay, well, there's a nugget of truth here. We heard something. If they came out with an XL Smash TV with Total Carnage and Robotron, that would just be sick. I mean, that would be insane. I mean, if you go for the shape of the Total Carnage, and Michael B is going to get mad because he absolutely loves Robotron. He wants Robotron, but I think if they did that, that would be really awesome. I think for me, they could revisit Big Blue, but I think that if they did something wild and crazy, it would be a Sega title. I think if they could really honestly pull off a legit House of the Dead collection. I mean, Star Wars trilogy would be great, but if they come on, listen, everybody in my channel, in the chat, live stream, comments, everybody wants House of the Dead. If they could bring that back and do a legit House of the Dead collection 1 through 3 at least, and do it in an XL form factor, it'd be the first shooting XL. It'd be House of the Dead. I think that would be nuts. I think everybody would go crazy.
That would be dope. That
Yeah.
would sell out like
Yeah.
immediately. So,
Immediately. Yes.
yeah, there's no question about it. Even like I've been clamoring for a Sega Jurassic Park, like 1, 2, and 3, if it was possible. That would be
Make
so
the
dope.
collection.
Like,
Yeah. Put it
yeah,
together. Do it.
yeah, definitely. Like I would think Terminator maybe, like, but it didn't like really sell. But here, let me ask you this: what if they did this? So we talk a lot about like Smash TV Robotron. What if they did a Smash TV Deluxe?
Mm-hmm.
And at the same time came up with a Robotron XL. So you're just reskinning it, and they're offering both flavors to each person.
I have no problem with that. I think if the games are there, if the controls are there, I think I don't think that there's anything wrong with offering different variants, like comic books. Like everybody who reads comic books, there's variant covers, right?
Mm.
If they did this a little bit with the Midway, you had the Mortal Kombat, but then you could also get a Joust skin.
Yep.
You could have your main cabinet that goes to Walmart, and it's Smash TV, but on the website you could choose. Maybe there's a $50 surcharge. You could choose different artwork for different games on that cab. So let's say the main title is, it's the cab we talked about. Smash TV, you can buy it right now on various websites, but you can go to Arcade1up right now, and you can choose a different skin pack based on one of the games that are on the cab, and they'll send that to you. And maybe there's a little fee, maybe there's a little plaque, maybe there's a little something or other, and that would be sort of that direct-to-consumer experience. It's a cabinet you're already making. You've already got all that set up. You're just going to offer a different skin. And that would be a way to make, instead of offering a completely different cabinet to people that, may not sell well, go with something that's going to sell well, but give us a variant via your online store, and you pay a small premium, but you get your cab in the skin of the game that you actually want. I think that would be kind of a cool compromise and a way to bridge that gap,
Yeah, my wife and I were saying like a lot like that, just with like 4 players. Like I am not a component of 4-player cabinets at all. I think they look weird on a 3/4 scale. You might be able to get away with it on an XL. It looks less like, I don't know, angel wingy.
Yeah.
And we have a small space. Like a lot of people here, they don't have a giant basement.
Mm-hmm.
We're working in a spare bedroom. It's 14 by 14. So I actually had all like the Kunamis and all the 4 players, the Turtles, Simpsons, X-Men, and I had to dump them, and I didn't want to, but I looked at it as like, hey, I could have 3 cabs, right? Or I could have 6 cabs, because they literally, for every 2, you have that.
Yep.
So what if they did, me and my wife were talking, like, what if they did an option, like on the website or whatever, that you could do a 2-player or a 4-player option? That would be cool.
Why not? You could sell the main cab. Yeah. I mean, and a lot of us made YouTube videos about converting 4-player to 2-player decks. But what if they just sold it as a 2-player website, and you could order the 4-player deck? So it's not an entire cabinet. It's just a 4-player control panel. And, and that way you have the best of both worlds. If you want to have Turtles, but you just don't have the space, grab your Turtles. It's 2-player. It's at Walmart, Best Buy, whatever. But listen, if you're bored with that after a while and you want that 4-player experience and you want to extend the life of the product, of the cabinet itself, go to our website. It's like buying rims and putting them on a Honda, right? It's a way to pimp out your cab and customize it, but it's with official Arcade1up accessories. So, back in the day when they sold parts, they would sell lit marquees and all that official with Arcade1up. You could buy from them. Just do it where maybe it's just a select group of cabinets and it's select features. But yeah, have a 4-player option. I think there's nothing wrong with that. That would be a way to kind of, the best of both worlds.
Yeah, that's a good point, because I like the cabs smashed together, like you see behind me. When you're getting like 2 4-players, there's like so much wasted space in between.
Yeah, there's no room.
And like you could go, who's playing 4 dudes on Blitz, or guys, gals, whatever? You're not really playing.
It's tight.
Yeah, and you can do it, and it's fun because you're in the moment and stuff. But how comfortable is it really? Like, so like when me and my wife are playing, we're literally using like player 1 and player 4 kind of thing to just spread us out a little bit so we can get some elbow room. Like I'm a big guy, so. It's that would be, I didn't even thought of that, to sell it separately and at $75 or whatever it is.
Whatever it is. Yeah.
But you can always, I was telling Arcade1up, like, dude, 2-player, I can go online if I want to play with a 4th turtle or something, or I want to challenge somebody on Blitz. Well, that's what online is for. Like,
exactly. And look what they did with the 2-player countercades. Like you had these USB ports on the side. Sell the 2-player model, but there's 2 USB ports on it. That's player 3 and 4. So you don't have to buy. I mean, there's a couple of different ways you can do this. You don't have to buy the 4-player deck. You could just have 2 plug-in extra controllers, and they could actually sell an official Arcade1up controller. It's just a gamepad, right? It's more stuff they can sell, and you could get it. Think about it like this. So you get a 2-player cabinet. It's Ninja Turtles, and they're gonna. And listen, if you want to play with 3 or 4, go to our website and get the controller. But you can get 4 different controllers. One's for Leonardo, Donatello, Michelangelo, Raphael. So think about it. So, and then collect them all, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I
That'd
mean,
be a
we're
great
making you
marketing
money
strategy.
right now. I mean,
I think that's over Arcade1up's head, but I could be wrong, guys, because with this
they
action
could do
game
that.
that's supposed to come out, who the hell knows anymore? To be quite honest with you, Paul
Yeah.
makes a good point. It's a funny point. I'll read this real quick. It says, "Danny, my space is all of 12 by 14, so a little bit smaller than mine, and I'm the biggest XL advocate on the planet. You're not going to sacrifice anything." And guys, I'll say this till I'm blue in the face. This dynamo thing is awesome behind me. I am it's Street Fighter, I get it. But what I said is like playing the right games in the right form factor changes the game. That's why I'm not really a big multi-cade guy. But when I'm playing this, it's like, wow, this is great. But I would have to wait a while just to then play that in an XL factor. So I don't want to wait. Like I want to play the games now. And I get we've all been waiting like 30 years for these things to come out, right? I mean, Home
Right.
Arcade just started recently. But it's like, dude, I wouldn't be having fun and stuff. So maybe in the future it opens up, but the options right now, like I said, Pac-Man and Killer Instinct, there's not much there.
No, there's not much there. I think that they need to improve the XL also. We've seen, I think, the first real true iteration of the XL with Pac-Man. It's got the right monitor, the price was right. The
Yeah.
LED buttons are ridiculous and unnecessary, but you
Yeah.
got the coin door standard. I mean, it's ready to go.
I think that's the like almost like the test run kind of
Yes.
they know they can't F it up for lack of a better word. It's Pac-Man, right? So
It's
I think that's the start, and I think like a lot of people have alluded to and hinted that going to next year, I could easily see 4 to 5 titles coming out, and to keep the flavor fresh. Like guys, Arcade1up will never ever be able to release every single arcade title. First of all, because licensing, but second of all, there's hundreds and hundreds of arcade titles and they could reskin things till they're blue in the face kind of thing because you'd want that. I have like Fox. I had 3 Street Fighter cabs at one time because I love the
Yeah.
form factor. Maybe me and my wife can just split up and we can play against each other, so we're not all crammed on one thing. It was nice. I wanted to fill out the arcade. Why not? One was a Christmas present, so who cares? I literally right now have the Deluxe behind me of MK, and I have Joust right over here.
Yeah.
But I don't even know where I was going with that. But it was all the titles, like you're not going to be able to release them all, so like we have plenty of time to keep coming out with things. So like kind of what I alluded to is if you did a new title every 3 months, right, that's a decent amount of time. So we're talking what simple math here, we're talking about 4 titles a year, brand new. I'm not talking about like a rehash or anything. And then you do all the rehashes in between, you do all the XLs in between. Literally you could do 2 launch titles a month. So like let's say it was Pac-Man XL, and then you had, I don't know, say, what do I got behind me? An Atari XL, right? And it's like almost 2 weeks in between, and then 3 months later kind of thing, or
Yeah.
in the calendar year, it's like, okay, here's our brand new, let's just use Smash TV as an example, and then in between, you're satisfying all the people that want to ditch the risers. So my wife was looking at this behind me, guys. It's every other is a riser right now, and she was looking at that, and she's like, "Oh, we got to get rid of these risers. They look goofy." And it's
Exactly.
like, and
That's
it's
the
like, yeah,
progression.
yeah,
Yeah.
and then that's exactly. So like, you're not telling me for 2 seconds if and I love this Atari guy behind me, the Centipede. But if they re-release that, even if it was like a asteroids that there's like high rumors about and stuff like that, the monitor is not the worst, but it could be better. And you're talking about getting rid of riser, I might upgrade. Because when I sell these cabs, it's really only costing me $50 to $100 to upgrade. So when I can put that content for you guys on the channel, like I'll do it. Why not? So that's kind of the progression that other people are kind of doing, and they're going to upgrade. Like somebody can have a set Atari cabinet like first or second gen kind of thing, and they're like, okay, now is a big enough time to upgrade. Like look at all of the enhancements and the improvements. So I think you could easily come out with a bunch of titles. And Arcade1up this year was pretty stale. At the back end, you've covered it all the time kind of thing. They've just exploded with all these titles, most of them re-releases. But
Sure.
if we take a look back at the year, it was really just Fast and Furious. For the cornercade here was Fast and Furious, Big Buck Hunter, the Street Fighter behind me, and Time Crisis. Which does that excite you? Time Crisis is okay. Like that's gonna be really cool. Fast and Furious is. I know you were really disappointed by that.
Oh man, I was so disappointed. I I've never gotten a cabinet for free from Arcade1up. I've never gotten a review unit at all. I bought those 2 cabinets with my own money. I had the Retro 530 Lit Coin Door mod ready to go. I did both of them, and I was ready to go, and I was disappointed. I think that they missed the mark, and that's the risk you run if you come out with 2 new titles a year. And if they're both not great, well, then it's just like, okay, so you got 1 hit, 1 miss, 50% of your new titles, sucked this year. I mean, and to your point, I don't want to wait all this time to get a new cabinet. I want you to keep coming out with new stuff. The argument for the 17-inch monitor is, well, it's cheaper. We can make them faster. So we're expecting, okay, now at this point, new titles, different games, different variants, different versions. If we have to wait for an XL, well, we think, okay, that's going to be more of a solid title. It's a version of something we already have before. It's more expensive. We know that you want to go with something more standard. You don't want to take a lot of chances with that. But when it comes to these 17-inch models, we expect more variety, something different, something interesting, something new. The thing about of course, Time Crisis is it's had that leaked GameFly leak, God, man, years ago.
Yeah,
working against it. We've known about it for so long, years at this point. And that's kind of unfair because that wasn't really Arcade1up's fault. But it seemed like it's just been waiting forever. A lot of people were sort of, the air kind of went out of the balloon whenever you said 750, and then it's only at Shop Hippo, and then now you got to wait forever, and it was late, and we don't even know it's coming, and FCC filings, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, you run this risk of too few titles means they all have to be hits. And so,
yeah,
it is what it is. But I think
that's the thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
If you take more swings at the plate, if you miss 1, 2, or 3 times, it's not a big deal because you hit 15 times. But when we're kind of dependent on like, okay, these 3 titles have got to hit, otherwise we have had a loss in the year, then that's not really that great. And it's really cool to get 2 retrospect. Like the Fast and the Furious is a perfect one because like me and my wife actually love that cabinet.
A lot of people love it. Yeah.
There's a lot of concessions, and trust me, like my wife is a very like casual, she's just getting their home arcades because of me.
Yes.
So she can see that. I can see more of the flaws. I'm more of like a hardcore casual, and Fox down below here, he's the hardcore of the hardcorest. So yes, did they make some sacrifices with like 30 frames per second instead of 60 frames? Could that help? I don't know. But like, did they kind of misallude us a little bit with the one game? I think that was like the big disappointment at the end of the day, because much like Big Buck Hunter, they're advertising it as 4 games. And it's 2 games, guys. It's 2. So you gotta just get technical. Just do less is more. If you could have said, "Hey, it's 1 game," and they're like, "Well," when people are playing it, and they're like, "Hey, there's actually 2 games on here. Let me do this." Undercut it a little bit, and if anything, you're looking at it's better now. People would say like, "Oh, cool, that's cool. It's like a bonus stuff."
Undersell and overdeliver. Yeah,
exactly. That's what they should be doing instead of overpromising and then undergetting.
Exactly.
But I did do your cable connection mod to the Fast and Furious.
Makes a big difference, right?
It's unbelievable, my guy.
Yes.
If we didn't have that video, we wouldn't have had the 2 cabs because we don't have I'm not going to run a cord all the way to my Wi-Fi router.
Exactly. I'm not going to do that. It's crazy. Yeah.
No, so that was really, really cool. And I think that technology might be like just like starting out. Like, you've talked about this, and I've alluded to it all the time. Time Crisis. How cool would it have been to have like 2 Time Crisis, link them together, do Time Crisis 2? I mean, think about it, Arcade1up. That is just missed opportunity on sales. And I know you can connect. You know how many Fast and Furious cabs you can connect?
How many? 8?
8.
Yeah.
Isn't that insane? Can you imagine like 4? Okay, for 2 is a lot of fun. Like I know you were playing with your son. You guys probably did have a little bit of fun.
No, we did. Hey, we did. It wasn't a complete garbage dumpster fire. But we had a lot of fun. Once we got all the issues worked out, positive connecting with the cable is great. But think about all the arcade classics. I think about a bunch of Daytona USAs.
Okay, can you imagine what you could do?
Imagine?
Yes. That's
Crazy.
where like the beef is. But yeah, even like putting 4 of these together, like that would be dope. Like I'm just saying, like my 2 cents. But we got a super chat here from Dre Gott. Thank you again for another super chat here. It's $4.99. This time it's a US super chat. So let's go. Thank you for supporting the channel, man. It says linked run and gun half XL linked would be my grill. 2-player deck with link capabilities on 4-player cabs moving forward. Thoughts?
There's so many different variations of this in arcades. I mean, you've had two cabinets basically built together, and that's your two-player co-op instead of two players standing side by side. Nintendo did it. Even if you look at like the Sega Blast City, they had well, I forget what it was called. It was two Blast City cabinets, candy cabs that were put together. I think it might have been Dual City. Anyway, you would sit across from each other and you would play each other. Me and Moat did that in Chicago. They had two of these candy cabs, and they were one giant cabinet, and you could do that. I mean, there's a lot of different variations of it, and they don't have to physically make a cabinet that big. That's where the cable comes in. You include the cable in the box, and this is for, hey, if you decide you want to buy a second one, you can hook it up. So there's a lot of different ways to kind of simulate that arcade experience at home, and I think they need to expand upon that.
100%. Like, you need to. I shouldn't have to go to 19K Fox, no offense here, to find how to link these things up.
Agreed. Yes.
It should be in the manual, and it should come with a cable to say, hey, let's include this $5 cable so you can buy our $700 cabinet kind of thing. So no brainer.
Exactly. And you could even have Time Crisis on it. It could be a branded thing, And to be fair, I found out about the crossover cable from the community, people commenting and saying, hey, Fox, try this. That didn't work. Hey, Fox, try this. Okay. Oh, you know what? That did work, but let me try this. And then it just sort of evolves that way. The community coming together, helping each other figure this stuff out is great for the community building, rapport. But to your point, Arcade1up, put this out there. Just put it out there, and let us know. Take all the guesswork out of it so we don't have to do this.
Exactly. It's like the same thing with the monitor thing. Like,
exactly.
I know that was like a mistake, but you have to test all these avenues. Yeah. There's got to be a production model that said, I know it's a rookie mistake. They went with the same serial number or model number, and they actually changed it. Like, that Arcade1up didn't know, and a lot of confusion. But they got to always have a test cab in and say, whoa, wait a minute. What is this? We got to change this kind of thing.
Right.
And I don't know if that happened with like the control panel behind me. Me and my wife were kind of playing guessing games on that. Like, what actually happened to that yellow stained control panel? We're thinking that it was left under UV lights for too long. And over time, it just kind of discolored. And so I know that was a pre-production unit because nobody's getting that cab. So again, they got to come out and say that like before the sales kind of thing. Like, whoa, wait a second. We noticed that there was a yellow control panel, guys. Rest assured there's going to be no problems. And here's the bonus thing. On said date, what was it, October 10th it came out or something?
Yeah.
It's dropping. And guess what, guys? We're gonna have a surprise for you. So stay tuned for that email. That's all you have to say. You don't have to give it away, so we can all sit here and just wait on our phones. Be like, what's the surprise? What's going on? Oh shit, it's $100 off. Oh my God, we got to get this thing. Like, it's easy hype to build. So yeah, I don't know.
I've got a theory. I've got a theory about that pre-production cabinet, though. I think the reason that I call it a Knight Rider nose, it's the plastic, nose. I think the reason why that was yellow, I think that originally was on that Street Fighter XL cabinet. I think that's the same. I think they prototyped that, and they realized that the angle was all wrong, so they just put it on a deluxe cab. They fixed that angle, and it was actually older than the cabinet that it was bolted onto.
Because in that picture, what is it sitting under?
Exactly.
Bam! Let's go. We got the duo in the house. We're going to figure this out no matter what. It's great. Credits to Mrs. Corner Kid, though. She was like, hey, because she used to work at Bed Bath & Beyond, she's like, all my displays would turn like yellow because they were under this lighting. And I'm like, interesting.
Yep.
Yeah, that's crazy. So I did have a little bit of like, I always like to go off 3 sources before I go and try to spill the beans here and confirm something that's, I believe in. But I did get some confirmation, a little clarity. I know you were speculating on this whole FCC thing. Yeah. Travis kind of confirmed during our unboxing that there's going to be no shipping delays, that this thing is going to be out and about and it's ready to go. So take it for what you want. Take it as a grain of salt. But Time Crisis should be here live and ready to go. Hopefully, I literally refresh mine at least 5 times a day, just saying, hey, did it ship yet? Did it ship yet? Just kind of waiting for it. So, if time, okay, so would you have got, this is kind of a stupid question. Would you have gotten Time Crisis if it was an XL?
Absolutely. But to be fair, I was originally going to buy Time Crisis when it was announced. I think with the introduction of the XL, and I think I'm like, I think you couple the introduction of the XL, Pac-Man, that was the first real legit, okay, we're going to do it right. And then Arcade1up saying that XLs are coming. I think this factors into everybody's calculus. Okay, do I want to buy this Street Fighter Deluxe, or do I wait till next year and they come out with an XL? Now, because we don't know, in January they would be wise to say, here is the roadmap of the XLs that are coming out. Maybe they don't announce every single one, but at least give us an idea, so that maybe it gives us a little more confidence to go ahead and buy Time Crisis, Capcom Deluxe, Fast and Furious. If we know you're not going to come out with an XL of those cabinets for a long time, maybe we feel better about buying those. But yeah, I mean, if Time Crisis was an XL and if it was $849, I'd probably buy it. Yeah, I'd probably buy it.
I know the price point was big with you, and like I was kind of looking at it as like, between the two cabinets, Terminator $699 and Time Crisis $750, I'll pay the extra $50 to get what I want. Like, because we had Terminator and we loved it. Obviously, we got it on a deal. I know you paid full price, I think, back in the day.
Full price.
Yeah.
Full price. So, pre-order.
We got it for $350. So it's like, I was like, hey, like I got it with Ridge Racer. It was at crazy sales. Like, let's do it. Kind of like a buy one get one at that point.
Pretty much.
So I was like, okay, let's just try it and see it. It's a cool cab. I remember playing it, back in the day. The nostalgia just to have it in your home arcade. I think that's one of those banger top 10 titles that you have to, like, if you're having a home arcade, like, that better be in there kind of thing. But for some reason, it just didn't get a lot of gameplay. It was just that one game. Yep. I wish there was a little bit more beef to it. And I'm not talking about, like, a movie trailer on there. I'm talking about, like, some games, guys. Like, so, when I see this, and a lot of, this is what I'm saying, Big Buck Hunter, man, I'm telling you, the replayability with Point Blank is going to be insane. And I think
love that game. I love the real game. I played that in arcades. It's excellent.
I've never played it. I've never played it.
So much fun.
Okay, cool. I'm hyped for it. I've been watching some gameplay. I saw like you're like shooting like a leaf and you get one bullet. I'm like, oh, this is gonna be dope. It's like Mario Party, but just shooting games. It's like fast paced and it's like
it's so much
gonna be cool. And Steel Gunner 1 and 2, you're just kind of holding it down, spraying and praying. So it'll be kind of cool, but I think the beef is going to be Time Crisis and Point Blank by far. So I'm really excited about that. So we'll see what happens. But guys, we're kind of ignoring the chat the whole time. So let's open it up. Let's open the floodgates up. If you guys got questions, obviously for Fox, he's the star of the show right now. So if you got questions for either of us, drop them down below. Fox, you can see the chat, right?
All right, I can see it. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let us know if you guys got any questions. I'm just going to start out of the gate with, let's go Stupid Fat Hobbit, just because it's right here. He says, I'm happy for those that are excited for XL, but to me, it's all smoke and mirrors. And most of the content creators who are high on these are onto real pinball and could give two shits about 1UP. What are your thoughts?
I don't own pinball. I think pinball is fun, but I don't think it's worth $8,000, $9,000, $10,000. I haven't seen a table that I think is worth it. I think for me, because I've been doing this so long, because I've been in this, I think that for me, XL is a progression. I think that's the bigger thing. Also, it looks better when it's next to my real arcades. I think that's another thing to consider. If you've got an arcade and it has real arcade machines in it, the XLs fit that a little bit better. So it's just my personal opinion. I think a lot of people think YouTubers say things because of this or that. And I think a lot of that criticism is fair. Thinking there's other motives behind what they're saying. I've never been like that. I've never tried to portray myself like that. If you go back and look at all my videos, I talked about T2 in the beginning, Ridge Racer, Revenge of Death Adder, all these things. I've given it a criticism and I've said a lot of these things aren't worth retail price, $500 all day long. Absolutely. 700, not so much. XL for me, it really is. It's the height. I don't have to add a riser to it. The size just fits me a little bit better. It fits in my arcade better. So when I say I like it, I actually like it. I'm not saying it for any other reason. It's just sort of, my natural progression of the 3/4 scale. It's great. They were awesome for a time, but I think that I just see myself having a little more patience and I can wait for the XL. And that's all the motivation that I have behind it.
And there's, you hit it right on the head. I mean, and I haven't even touched on your real arcades yet, which is a whole nother dope thing. Like, God, just the buttons and the controller on a real arcade, dude, it just bar none. Like, I'm telling you, if Arcade1up can just get remotely close, which, not to get off sidetrack, but on the Street Fighter Deluxe that just came out, there's definitely a different micro switch in there. They feel a little bit different. Now, my head could just be full of bananas, but your boy is not taking that apart either. That's a B Kong thing and a Fox thing. Like, I'm not going to mess up anything, but I'm telling you,
Right, right.
there's something different about that feel. I've been around here long enough. I've been doing this for like 2-3 years. I know it. Like, I've had over 35 Arcade1ups kind of thing, building them, selling them. There's just a different feel to that for some reason. And it's got to be something. But
Right.
You're 100% right. Like the real arcades next to 3/4 scale, they make them look like numbskull cabinets or new wave toys.
Yeah.
And it looks too weird. Like
Mhm.
it's even hard putting like an XL next to it because they're so skinny. Where the XL is a little bit more beefier. It's like, well, why aren't all the why is the heights aren't really the same? It's just like the width of it. They get a little, a few inches bigger.
The dimensions, it's everything. I did a video where I talked about the XL is the actual 3/4. If you set that next to like, at the time, I think I had my Golden Tee sitting next to my Raiden in a real dynamo cabinet, the 25-inch monitor, the 19-inch monitor. If you do the math, the XL is technically closer to 3/4 scale than the 17-inch models. And so when you consider that and you look at them side by side, it makes more sense that way. So, and I think it's not as off-putting. And to your point, yeah, the 3/4, the 17-inch versions, they look incredibly small next to the real deal. But I think I had there was a comment here. Let me see if I can find it. I just lost it. Here it is. Okay, so Rick Hose, what's going on, buddy? Fox, what if the XL for the game you really want isn't coming? That is exactly my motivation for buying real arcades. I bought the real arcades that I didn't think Arcade1up would ever make. Die Hard, the Sega game. I have Cruisin'
Raiden.
Cruisin' USA. They're not going to make that one. I have Star Wars Trilogy, which I would love it if they would prove me wrong, but I got that one because I knew they wouldn't make it. And then my Raiden Dynamo cabinet is just a personal favorite. They're never going to make that one either, but that's just a personal favorite. Me and my brother played that, and there was just something about the second game in that franchise. And it's also one of those games you can't download. Like if you go on Nintendo, Sony, all the Play stores, all the arcade where you can download the arcade classics from back in the day, you can never find Raiden 2. It's never been available. I mean, Raiden 1, sure. Raiden 3, 4, 5, 6, all of them are still out there in various forms. They've been re-released, HD remakes, all that. But that game is just, you can't just find it. You can play it on MAME, or you can play it in real life, or you can get Sony disc, that Raiden project for PlayStation 1. It's the only variants out there. So it's special to me. It's unique, and I know Arcade1up won't make it. So to your point, to your question, if they don't make an XL version of it, I'm just going to go try to find the real thing.
Yeah, that Star Wars trilogy, man. I'm really jealous. That's
it's so
that's the one I want. Did you get it up and running, or is everything good with that?
So the only thing left, I'm obviously going to refresh it. It's on pause right now because of the arcade. But the only thing that's really wrong with it is the joystick itself. Somebody bypassed the booster boards that are actually mounted to it. They're still there. They just bypassed them. So the joystick just goes all the way left, the right, top, down. There's no variation in between. So I get to dig into that a little bit and fix that. But beyond that, it's a solid cabinet. I just have to aesthetically fix a few things here and there. But
that's easy stuff,
It's for the most part, the sound when you turn that thing on.
I know.
Takes me right back. I love it.
Have you ever been in a Star Wars battle pod?
Yes, absolutely.
Oh my God, that is just like that is worth. Okay, we're talking about pinball money. Like that, I think you can find it for like $15,000 or something. That is my pinball.
If I had space for that, absolutely.
And it's like skinny too, so it's not, you can kind of just get in there.
It's not the worst thing in the world. Yeah, I think it's still, you might have a hard time getting into a door, but it's really not. Yeah, it's just like an oval. Yeah, pretty cool.
Well, when you were at Galloping Ghost, did you ride that 360 thing?
Yes, we did.
Oh my God! Yep. So so some of us are talking to maybe go. I know Travis MCP threw it out there. Hey, what if we got, what if I flew down and we just went down to Galloping Ghost? Maybe got a couple other YouTubers with us. And I'm like, all right, if we do that, we need to ask Doc Mac. Hey, can we get a ride on that thing? Because there's only like 25 in existence.
When we went in there, we had our cameras going, and we were kind of telling the guy working the counter, "Hey, listen, we're YouTubers. We're here. We're showing off your arcade, and kind of he let Doc know, and he showed up, and He took us in the back and he gave us the super supreme treatment and let us fly this thing. It's like space camp. It's like everything you see,
so
all
dope.
the NASA training stuff. This thing is flipping around. It's so cool. I think me and Justin, Console Kids, got the same score, which wasn't very impressive, but we had a ton of fun. It was incredible. And to experience those games, I mean, that was back when they were taking real chances, making stuff that was insane. Probably didn't make any financial sense, but it was incredible. So yeah, that was definitely something I'll remember forever.
Yeah, it's super cool, man.
Yeah.
Let's scan the chat here. See, I mean, the chat's flying. We got 64 people in the house, guys. If you haven't already, like I said, give this video a like. Help support the channel. Definitely. Let's see if we can. Man, it is so much easier when you have the chat on the side here. You just click away. It's
you kind of see it. Yeah, I know.
It's the little things in life. Let's see. Paul Mindeman says, Fox, the math is that XLs are 87 to 93% full size, depending on which dimension you're looking at. Several of us have measured on Facebook, versus real cab. So 90%, not 3/4 scale.
If you go 25-inch, 19-inch versus 25-inch, if you're just looking at screen size, I know all the overall cabinet size variants are out there, but if you just look at screen size, you're going to find that the 19-inch is much closer to 3/4 of 25. Now, I know I'm just picking one number. That's only one characteristic of a cabinet, so it may not be fair, but that was just my personal comparison. Because, like I said, there's a ton of options and sizes and shapes of actual arcade the cabinet itself, but something that's been way more consistent over the years is that screen size of 25-inch. 19 and 25 has been fairly consistent. That was the number that I used as my metric. So,
and for your Cruising Exotica or World, which one did you have?
I got the USA. No, I'm sorry, I got World. Okay. World, yeah,
World. Okay,
yeah, World.
Did you ever get it right with the Unicom monitor?
So the installation is complete. And it looks great with the exception of that picture. They are working on a firmware patch, and Todd with TNT Amusements, they're going to be selling them also. They've communicated back to Unico the issue. I chatted with Todd just on a live stream. I said, hey, Unico, I can't wait till they fix that. And he acknowledged, yes, the midway cabs, they overscan, and you're not getting all of the picture, but a lot of you can plug them in and away you go. I think the CPS2 games with Capcom and all that, they work just fine. Neo Geo, they also work fine, but they are going to come out with a patch. I'm unfortunately, I'm waiting for them to get that done. Once they get that done, that review is going to come out with all the fixes and all the process of how you do the update and the firmware, because I think that it is a great thing to breathe new life into old cabinets. And listen, at the end of the day, CRTs are the way to go, but they are few and far between.
Oh, yeah. Guys, I got, just pop that. Since the chat's not working, guys, type out question in caps. I'll only keep Fox for a few more minutes. But if you got a question for either of us, put question in the chat and then do your question, because, there's a lot of side conversation stuff going on. If you want us to kind of answer one of your guys' questions. Yeah, so Paul Mindeman's going in right now, saying a bunch of stuff to what you were saying as far as XL's looking more authentic. If you put a 20-inch monitor in a deluxe cab, there'd be no room. Somebody said earlier, too, you can fit a 20-inch monitor in the big buck, and you'd still have that like pump reload graphic on there. Buy Stuff Arcades did that mod. I would probably go 19 if I could fit a 20 in there. I would totally do it. But yeah, that's some you got to do encoder boards. God, Fox, if you could just come over and just do a couple monitor swaps for us, that'd be amazing. Like, you're just swinging through town, man. Let us know.
If I'm driving by, I'll hit you up. Absolutely.
Because there's so much that like I would want to do, but it's like I don't want to break something. And I also do your Loctite thing. So like, for example, if like NFL Blitz, for example, I'd love to make it into a 2-player. Yeah. But I already used red Loctite on all the joysticks, so those are you're gonna need a flame torch to get those things off. Like,
they're not coming apart.
Yeah, I was so aggravated they kept twisting off, and I'm like, I was on Amazon, and I'm like, okay, the blue one you can still get that off at Tools. The red one you need a flame torch. Okay, I'm Tim Allen here. I'm using the red one. That's not coming off. So yeah, so whatever. Let me check the chat here. We got no. Okay, we're not typing questions, so I'm just going to see if we have some questions. Rick Ho says there are only 2 exceptions. I trade up 3/4 scale, 2 XL4 driving and shooting cabs. If they were able to make XLs of T2, Time Crisis, Big Buck, Outrun, Ridge Racer, and Fast and Furious, I'd buy those day one. And I think a lot of people would. Like, those are
Yeah.
fresh, hot titles that, like, hey, like, of course, in an XL form factor, that's a no-brainer. But a lot of these form factors, like, you saw in Fast and Furious, how was that screen for you being 6'1"? Like, it had to be better than Ridge Racer, right?
No, the placement was really good. Actually, the placement of the screen was good. I mean, it obviously could have been a little bit higher, I think, but for what it was, I think the screen placement was good. But I could really see. I will say this: when you're into it and you're working on the wheel, it won't really rock, but it will shake. I think that's where you can really benefit from that 19-inch being a little bit wider. You get a little bit wider stance. You can maybe crank on a little bit more, and you would eliminate that, I think, and that would
maybe
really
in that G
absolutely.
panel, if you had it weighed a little bit more, maybe a little bit
more.
thicker, just a little bit. These do rock, but as you see behind me, I smashed them together, so it's not a problem yet. But I could definitely see where, hey, you got one on the end, and you're trying to fight and play and stuff, and it does rock a little bit.
You're
That's something
jamming, exactly.
That's something they can fine tune just to fix a little bit. Gotham City had a good question, Arcade. Gotham City Arcade says, are you both going to give Arcade1up 1 year to bring in new titles before walking away? Fox, I'll let you answer this first.
I'll say this, and this is not because I'm I'm a shill. I know people say it. I'll never walk away from Arcade1up. If I'm just disappointed with a product that they come out with, I'm just not going to buy that one. I'm always going to be ready to see what they come out with. I'm never going to say I'm never going to buy. I mean, unless something egregious happens, but worst case scenario, I'm just not going to buy from them for a while until I see something, really, really grabs my attention. And I think that's the way everybody should approach it. I think back in the day when they had fewer offerings, we wanted to collect them all. But I think maybe now that they've got so many and there's so many variants, maybe I think we can exercise a little bit of, restraint and then just sit back and wait for them to come out with your game that you want in the form factor you want. But listen, if they're not, if they're not making anything that just gets me jazzed and gets me going, I'm just not going to buy it. But I'm always going to be open to it because I think that this is something, and this is the thing I've loved about it. I've had full-size arcades in the past, but what Arcade1up did is they gave us the ability to say, hey, go to Walmart now and get this cab, and then I'll get it, and then we'll be able to talk about it. Instead of, I found this guy on Facebook or wherever, and he had it, and I had to go get it, and it was this, and it was that.
Somewhere.
and it's so like rare to find it, and you can't really connect over it. But we could both, if you and I could both, Danny, go get this, I'll get it, and now we can get it, we can build it, we can talk about it because it's like a shared experience.
We can play online together.
We can play online together. Exactly. That's what they did for us. So, I don't think I'm just gonna walk away completely because I think that unless they just give up and just start making casino arcades, and that at that point, well, that's it. Sorry, I'll see you later. But if as long as they keep trying, as long as they keep coming out, as long as they keep pushing forward, I'm always going to be curious what they're going to do, anxious to see what they're coming out with. I do poll questions every week. I do that hoping that Arcade1up will take some of that feedback from not me, from the community, from everybody in the chat. The poll question is the community saying this is what we want, or commenting on something. And that's what I hope that if Arcade1up will just, I know they might get mad at me because I give them a hard time, but look at the information we're giving. We're trying to provide feedback at no cost to you. This is free. Take it, baby, run with it. And hopefully you'll sell more cabs, you'll make some more money, and you can keep bringing us more stuff.
For sure. Yeah. You pretty much hit it on the head. I mean, Arcade1up, home arcade has really changed like our family's lives. Like, my wife is into it, for Christ's sakes. Like, I'm into it, obviously. My kids are into it. We alluded to the cabs being off risers. My kids are 1 and 3, and they're pushing the dining room chairs in here. They go right to Fast and Furious when this cornercade gets lit, and they know exactly what to do. My daughter, who's 3, always picks the pink car, the pink 350Z. She's ready to roll. They had the Buck Hunter. They have a rotation, guys. Like, this is no joke. And one thing too, so like the corner, and I don't want to get too, but the cornercade started, guys, in the corner of our living room. That's why we call it the cornercade. I had two machines. It was like Mortal Kombat 2, kind of like this one behind me, but not in the cool deluxe factor that's in now, and MVC 1. And I was like, okay, these are cool. Right when I assembled them, like my daughter at the time, because we didn't have my son, just gravitated towards it. And she was just playing on it. I was like, okay, I could teach my kid some retro shit. Let's keep them and let's see what's up. Let me pass that down. Like, it's one thing, guys, to play in a VR headset, Oculus, you're playing Call of Duty, you're shooting realistic, or sweat. Yeah, that's okay. Hey, you want to beat your dad in Killer Instinct? Let's kick it old school. And retro gaming has really expanded and changed my life and my kids' lives. We were moving the cornercade, so I think we built. God, I wish my wife is here; she'd know. 3, 6, 9. I think we had like 9 machines in that little corner, and we were kind of like, we're running out of space. So we started moving them into a bedroom. We kind of reshifted everything around in the apartment. The kids got much more room and stuff like that. So we kind of cleaned things up, and we had an extra room for them. And we were moving those arcades into that room. And my daughter at the time, who was, I think, 1.5, 2, she was like pushing the arcades and saying, no, 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 like screaming, like she thought we were getting rid of them. And
Oh,
like,
okay.
and
Yeah.
like, and like, no, we're actually expanding. Like, and when she like saw it, she's like, oh wow. And she comes up to me, Daddy, can you turn the arcade on, kind of thing? And I let her push the button because everything is Alexa smart plugged in my house. So she gets to press the button on the cell phone. Like, it became a family thing. Like, it's one thing when you're playing, your PS5, like that's just a you thing with whoever's online. Like, and that's where it started really, is my kids were just grabbing at me and saying, Dad, I want to play Call of Duty. And if I'm in the search and destroy match, the whole thing's blown up. So I'm like, why don't I just do this, that, and the other? And it turned into this. So really, home arcade has brought not only unity in the family, which we all have something common. It's brought out hobbies and the YouTube channel that we now started. I mean, it just evolved, and that's with everybody. Michael B, for example, is doing like council stuff, and he's pretty much turned into a home arcade channel now. So that's like all he does and stuff like that. And he's grown, we've all grown, and then everybody's grown together. And then there's like trips and stuff happening, all from home arcade. Like, it's one big giant family. The Facebook pages, the Instagram, social media just explodes. There's a lot to it. It's a very big question, but long and short, I honestly, guys, don't think Arcade1up is going anywhere. I know there's people like speculating all this. They owe debt, this, that, and the other. CEOs are leaving. It's just a bunch of hoo-ha. At the end of the day, I care about what games are we going to get and how can we make them better. That's it. I don't care about people losing their jobs, because that's a sad time. Nobody wants to really, touch on that. And that's nothing that people should be disclosing anyways. Like, let those people come out and say it if they want to say it, kind of thing. But I want to know, like, what titles are we going to get and how can we make them better? And if they're willing to listen now, with like Travis MCP saying, hey, look, it's a lot different now. They have an ear and saying, we need help. What can we do to give you the best product? Because no one at the end of the day shows up to the office and says, hey, how can we suck today? How can we really just fail as a company? Like, they want to get better. How are they going to do it? I don't know. So that they're kind of leaning on a lot of different ends now to say, okay, community engagement, involvement, maybe making the Arcade1up app that much better, offering tournament support. I shouldn't have to. If I'm in a moat tournament, I shouldn't have to go on Reddit and Discord and YouTube. Make it on the app. You have an app. Like, so that kind of thing, like all of that community engagement, like do free giveaways every Monday on an app for a t-shirt or something. All of that stuff, like giving back more. I alluded to, hey, offering the free download on the Street Fighter to get the Deluxe series. If you buy it on the Deluxe, hey, get all, we're going to release this as a free patch update for you. Because we love you people, kind of thing. So it's a lot of that. I don't think Arcade1up is going anywhere. I do think new players in the home arcade will be emerging. We've seen that with a bunch of different things, but it'll be coming. In the years. I only think that this is going to grow and grow and grow. So we'll see. Anybody have any other questions at all? Let's see. We have the chats flying as always. Let's see if I can catch up with it. Jason says, stop having fun. Exactly. Stop having fun.
Yes. Quit that right now.
Yeah, enough. Paul Mindeman says, welcome to Danny's TED Talk. That's hilarious. Oh, here we go. Gotham City Arcade. Can we get a home arcade convention? Well, I think they just did that. You guys just got back from Cleveland.
Yeah, there's a ton of them out there, and it's really a cool experience. It's not just the home arcade; it's actual arcades. It's a lot of people selling stuff, talking about stuff, advertising, showing off what they do. I mean, it's they're really cool. Home arcade convention. I think there's enough personalities out there. We could do some kind of a big meetup. I mean, I think of Gallop and Ghost, kind of Chicago. What we did there was pretty cool. You could have a bunch of people. It'd take a lot of coordination, but I think we could absolutely do it. I would love a Vuelix style arcade. I just saw that Devastator Omega, that candy cab, some kind of a variant of that, because they already have the height. Take the cab off the riser, and there you go. But go XL with that short form factor. I would dig it. I think that would be really fun. But the Vuelix, that's 16:9. That's HD graphics. That's HD gaming. Be something that, listen, it's a legit arcade cabinet. So they could do that, and then maybe we could take that, and because it's 16:9, we could get Shredder's Revenge or some of these new games, some of these, Streets of Rage 4, whatever, something like that. That would fit within that arcade authenticity, that real arcade that existed, and you're emulating that. So instead of making it something awkward, like trying to put a 16:9 screen in a Dynamo cab, don't do that. Do the Vuelix, and then just celebrate that and emulate that candy cab style. So, I mean, I would not hate it at all. I think you could actually do that and make that look pretty sick.
Speaking of form factors, this Dynamo HS5 behind us,
Mhm.
Fox, has there been other arcade games that have been in that they can kind of use this form
Dude,
factor then to put others out there?
dude, dude, I did a whole show on this. They have put everything. Had the control panels. They had shooting control panels, drivers. They had all the big names have been in it. I mean, Neo Geo. You've had the freaking Tekken series. I mean, everything. So that's why I was so pumped about that body style, that form factor, that cabinet specifically, because it's limited graphics on the side. It's just, Street Fighter. It's like this big.
Mhm.
You
Yeah.
could slap anything on there, and it would actually be, arcade accurate or arcade inspired, because they put every single PCB they could fit in these, because Dynamo just started cranking out these cabinets. They were making them for everybody. Arcade owners would buy these, put the PCB of whatever, and throw it in there. So you could really they could honestly get away with any game that they have in their collection. They could throw it in a Dynamo, and it would be like, well, they did that in the arcade. So
It's kind of like what they were doing with their Midway style cab that they just kept putting everything out in.
exactly. Yeah.
This is very exciting then, because for the most part, research and development is kind of almost done. They just have to do the PCB, like said Tekken title, and they could just do all the coding and all that, pair with Code Mystics or whoever, and they could put out a pretty cool product. And maybe we're halfway there. Travis is clamoring for Tekken. They already have the form factor. Who
I mean,
knows?
yeah, everybody in the chat, if you're curious, look it up. Go just do a Google search for Dynamo Arcade Cabinet, and you will see just tons of different titles were available. And yeah, I mean, I think there's actually a Tekken 2 cabinet in it. It's a Dynamo XL, or not an XL. It's a Dynamo HS5 or HS1. I can't remember, but it's got Tekken 2 in it. It's rocking it, and it's the four buttons, and they put them in everything. So they could legitimately just and I think that it would be smart. It would be wise of them to do this, pick a form and just keep cranking those things out. Limited artwork. It's the same style, make a bazillion of them and do what you want to do. Put whatever you want in it.
It could be the start of something pretty exciting that we might,
Yeah.
fly under the radar a little bit. Thor KC says it's kind of funny / ironic that we're all clamoring for new games when they're 40 plus years old.
That's a good point.
They're new to us, reimagined essentially.
New games, yeah, new old games.
It's kind of like jumbo shrimp. It's a little
exactly,
condescending, but hey, they're new to us games that we can actually afford. Not everything. Sometimes the cabs get a little expensive, or you can get a cheap, I saw on Facebook they had a cheap Hydro Thunder sit down cab. It was like great, it was like $500, but needs a lot of work and doesn't work. And then you got to find a guy.
Yeah.
Like you could be my guy, but you're all the way in Kentucky or whatever. So it's like how realistic is that? Then you got to try to find this, that, and the other. it's a lot to
Yeah.
kind of go through restore and it could get up to like
And it's
1,000
very
or something.
intimidating. It's one thing to buy something and it works perfectly, but it needs new artwork. That's one thing. A lot of people can do that, but a lot of people can't take on a project where the CRT is bad, one of the PCBs isn't working, or the sound card is bad, or the steering wheel, the controls are all jacked up. I mean, there's a lot. You could really get into something where, like you said, okay, it's $400 or $500, but God, the list of problems and the extremely expensive fixes to those problems could take that $500 cab and make it a $2,000 cab like that.
Yeah, this is definitely designed for just like the easy. And this is
Yeah,
kind of like the argument that I've had with people like, why don't you just get like a real one? And it's like, guys, like if something goes wrong with one of these one-ups, I can just contact Arcade1up, and for the most part, they send you a free part. I don't have
yeah,
to go hunting to set Arcade World or website in the dark webs and try to find this converter thing that I need.
right.
It's not, and then I have to pay for it. So it's just a little bit easier for your average consumer. I'll just keep you for a few more minutes. If anybody has any questions, let us know. Otherwise, we're gonna wrap it up, put a pin in it. You know how we do. We can't be here all night, guys. Unfortunately, Fox has got to get some sleep, and so does your boy. We do have a question here from Gotham City Arcade. It says, "What '80s titles would you love to see from Arcade1up outside of Robotron 2084?" Fox, what do you lean towards more? Are you more like a '90s, early 2000s guy, or are you more an '80s guy?
I have a love for some of the great '80s titles. I'm a huge fan of Road Blasters. For me, is just one of those games that obviously it's a driver. I was a big Knight Rider fan as a kid. It's a driving cab. You have a gun upgrades, but then there was something about the combination of the graphics and the music that I just love. I mean, it's not a super complicated game at all, but Road Blasters for me is just something and it had that sleek sit down cabinet that was like a mile long, but the upright's really cool too. But Road Blasters is something for me that I think it's obscure enough that they could get it for cheap. They could do it for nothing. What else would they put on the cabinet? I don't really know, but something like Road Blasters, Spy Hunter, obviously, those kind of early driving games were very unique. They had different points of view. You were behind the car, you were like directly above the car. That kind of stuff was really, I love those type of '80s games. Of course, your standard, your Pac-Man and stuff like that. '90s, I think for me is where I have a lot of nostalgia because while I'm older, I didn't get to the arcades until the late '80s, early 2000 or early '90s, because that's when I could drive. And we were so far away from an arcade, I had to get my driver's license and actually drive myself there. And that's where, man, the '90s, God, the CPS2 games, the CPS1 games were great too. They were classic, but the CPS2 for me, that's all your crossover games, your X-Men versus Street Fighter games, the Street Fighter Alpha games, the art style. I just love those sprites. I absolutely love them. Neo Geo just for me was like hit after hit after hit. I mean, World Heroes, Samurai Showdown, Metal Slug. I mean, that stuff, especially Metal Slug. Dude, I could play that game forever and pick one. There's 7 of them. Pick one. I love them all. They're so much fun. I think, what is it, 3, the one with the zombies? I absolutely love it. It's so much fun. So I would lean towards something like that. I know Neo Geo has been done before, but pick something odd and obscure. Maybe that would be like a direct-to-consumer thing. That's what I would dig.
I'll go an underrated title here. For like an '80s one, obviously Qbert would be really cool, but I know they're trying to shy away from like the one game. I mean, there would be like maybe 2 games on that cab, but I know they're trying to shy away from that. But Super Sprint, how do you feel about that?
Oh yeah, absolutely. No, that would be really fun. Another one of those driving cabs, right? And it was, and back then, like driving cabs became more unique because it wasn't so clearly defined of a genre. So you had these top down, you had where you would follow the car, you would be hovering over the racetrack, and you would watch the whole track, I mean, you had off-road. There was just a ton of different driving cabs. Some of the games, the steering wheel just spins nonstop. Some of them had lock to lock, it was crazy. I just picked up my real arcade. I picked up SCI. I think it was the most recent one. Special Criminal Investigations. That was another one of those. It feels kind of like Outrun, but you've got a passenger that jumps out of the T-tops and he shoots. So your shifter has a trigger on it, and there's like a turbo boost button. Those kind of things were so neat back in the day because they were so. the graphics were limited, different things, the things, the ways to stand out, and it usually manifested itself in some kind of a weird control scheme. So
Yeah, that's actually pretty cool. Like I didn't really hear about like CSI until you bought it,
yeah,
and I was kind of looking at it. And once you get it set up,
you start
definitely
looking
do
at
some
it, it's
gameplay.
crazy.
It's
Yeah.
definitely kind of cool. There was one that that kind of reminds me of. I forgot the name of it, but one person's driving and the other person has the gun and shooting. What is that? What is that cap
Oh,
called?
that was Namco. That was Wild and something or
Wild
other.
and Out or Crazy or something like that.
So,
Like
I can't remember the name. It was something like that. Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
And that was
that's what
that
it
was a
reminds me
legit
of.
2-person seated cabinet, and that was so cool. You could drive and you could shoot, and you also had a passenger that was shooting also.
Yeah,
I'm forgetting the name because I was just looking at this cabinet earlier. Yeah,
that's
yeah. So
funny.
much fun.
I think as far as like, I mean, we've had a lot of titles. There's more to come. I think the big ones that I always harness on are probably the most expensive, like a Sega Jurassic Park shooter, a Star Wars
Sure,
trilogy.
sure.
I can't really think off the top of my head, and if I had a list in front of me, I could be like, yeah, that would be super cool to have.
Hungry
As far-
Wolf says Lucky and Wild. That's what it was called. Lucky and Wild.
oh yeah, okay.
Yep,
It
that's it.
always got me confused with the running gun basketball for some
I
reason.
know, I
Lucky and
know, I
Wild,
know.
yeah.
Yeah,
I was like, yeah,
yeah.
that's super cool. So they have one of those actually at my local arcade. It's called Up Down. I know they have like 6
Yep.
locations in 6 different states or whatever. So that was pretty cool. But yeah, 80s ones for sure. I'm trying to think. Like Fox, like think about it. Would you be like hyped? I don't know, for like an XL track and field. Like it's an 80s title, but does that really excite you to be like, hey, I want to buy this? It's like,
I mean, me personally, no.
yeah,
No. I mean, I'm not really into it. It's like when you go that far back, unless it's super, super iconic, Tron. I mean, it's like games where it's limited. The gameplay is limited, but it was more about the cabinet, the experience, the movie tie-in, and all that. It's yeah, track and field for me just doesn't do it. It doesn't,
it doesn't move
I'm
that
just not going to do
needle.
it. Yeah, I'm just
Yeah,
not going to do it. Beat 'em up, some of the great 80s beat 'em ups. I mean, I still can't believe Double Dragon didn't happen.
yeah. I
I
mean,
still,
would you
it's
have
so
gotten
weird.
that? I know it's a deluxe, but would you have gotten that at all,
Well,
or does
I
that
think I
count?
would have definitely. I think I would have definitely got that because back when that was rumored, I was still, XLs.
Yeah.
There was just a few XLs out there. I was still into the 3/4, and absolutely. And if it came out as a deluxe, there's still some deluxes that I still might get. And I'm not saying I'm not going to get the Street Fighter Deluxe. I may get it. I may actually have a plan for it.
Yeah,
Possibly.
I think you could tinker with a lot of I'm telling you, man, this thing's
Possibly.
cool. If you
Oh
get
yeah.
on it, you're gonna be like, yeah, you will have to, being 6'1", I think you're gonna have to boost it up a little
Mhm.
bit. It is 63 inches tall, but
Yeah.
the way the marquee kind of comes out at you, if I were to stand up like really, really straight, it almost has
Yeah.
some screen cut off there. So like at 6'1", you
Uh-huh.
gotta kind of watch it. It's just the way it's designed. PD7 stopping by with a $1.99
PD7.
super chat. Let's go, PD7. Thank you for supporting the channel, man.
Absolutely.
PD7 lives like 20 minutes away from me. I've actually been in one of his walk and talks. Super cool guy. We do have another super chat from Jason. Jason, if you guys don't know, he's in everybody. He's like a home arcade god. He's always in supporting everybody. So thank you so much, Jason, for a $5 super chat. It says, kicking off the 2024 Puyan XL Fund early. Let's go, dude. Thank you so much for the super chat, Jason. I appreciate it. And PD7, thank you so much as well. Back-to-back super chats there. Really does help support the channel. But yeah, I mean, how about this, Fox? Let's put a timer on it. We got 9 minutes left. We'll go for
Okay.
an even 2 hours.
Okay.
So if you guys have any last minute questions, I mean, Fox, we've been chatting home arcade. I could do this forever. This is great. So
This is what we love, man. That's what we're into. I got to address Paul Minderman. He asked me about a Sengoku XL. I love the Sengoku series and Neo Geo side-scrolling beat 'em up. It's freaking weird. I mean, it is. It's freaking nuts. Your ninjas, your samurais. There's magic. There's stuff going on. You don't understand what happened. You kill the guy, but then he came back, and then you get beamed up to the Cloud City. Like there's a stage above. It was so weird. I freaking love it, and the art style of that game is so cool. So yes, Sengoku, I'm all in.
did you have an MVSX? I can't remember.
I did not get it. No, I didn't
Wow,
get it.
that's
You know what?
actually shocking.
The biggest problem for me, that freaking control panel, 6 buttons laid out like that. If you did not do the 4 additional. I'm like, what is going now? The high-low hack really got me. I almost jumped on it. Like that was sick. But I was kind of hoping that Unico would come out with another cabinet that was maybe an all-in-one instead of, sit on top of a riser. They never did. I asked them about doing, you guys just came out with a 26-inch monitor. Just make that, right? Just take that and just make another version. And they were like, wow, but that license is really expensive. So that told me they don't have it anymore. They don't have the Neo Geo license anymore. So it's up for debate. Who's going to get it? Who's going to go for it? Who's going to take that on? But yeah, I didn't get it because I'm telling you, it just messed me. That whole control panel, it just messed me up, man.
I have it. It's actually pretty cool. I also did the high-low hack on that. So it's got like 850 games, but the games, like a lot, like I knew about, some of the games that were on Samurai Showdown. You talk about, King of Fighters, like, and I was like, oh, I got to discover like Metal Slug. I knew of it, but I never really played it. So I got to discover some of these games, and like even the 50 games that are on there, it's got a lot of value, and then obviously the high-low hack, it just blows it away. But from like a height perspective, you can adjust that riser from 6 inches to 9 inches. I think that would really fit like perfect for you as far as like a height goes. I think you would really fall in love with it. Yeah. I'm glad that they put those 2 buttons in, because the high-low hack, now you can play like Street Fighter Alpha and stuff like that.
That's true. Yeah, at the time I didn't think about that.
But it kind of was like, oh, thank you. Like, we appreciate that. Maybe they had some kind of plan to that, saying, hey, we're going to be using it with this, that, and the other. Who knows?
If nobody comes out with it, if Arcade1up, somebody doesn't make this, I'm going to have to just, I've had my eye on several different auctions and several different sites and several different listings, and I'm trying to get a hold of a Neo Geo cabinet, a real one, a big red. But listen, I would love for Arcade1up to do an XL version of that. And if they, I know they're going to do their thing. They're going to come out with several different versions. They're going to have a Metal Slug cabinet and a Samurai Showdown cabinet, and I'd be okay with that.
That would, I think a lot of people would be okay with that for sure. And you can kind of pick and choose or get all kind of thing.
Yeah.
When you saw that leaked list and it had AVP on there, I know inside you were just like, yeah, F off. You're just teasing me now.
Like, it's not going to happen. Yeah, quit playing with my emotions.
That's so funny. I was like, oh, he's like inside just, it'd be literally like saying a Star Wars trilogy. I'm like, oh my God, like, are you kidding me? And then I'm just waiting for a year and nothing's coming to
happen. Exactly.
That's it's too much. Paul Miniman says, I had an original 2-slot Big Red Fox, and it was amazing. I put Hyper 64 Mobo in it, just for some 3D polygon fun.
That's awesome. I love those cabs. I remember playing, a lot of these cabinets had like a moment, like an attachment. There's some kind of event or something. I remember playing my first Neo Geo cab. I don't know. This wasn't my first, but I played, there was a 4-slot. I was in basic training in Fort Knox, and once you're there for like so many months, you actually get some privileges, and we could go over to the PX, and then we would go to a rec center, and they had a 4-slot in the back, and they had World Heroes, which was I think it was the first time I played World Heroes. So this was 95, and I played I played Metal Slug and Samurai Showdown, but World Heroes for some reason I never played, and so I played that. I think King of Monsters was on it, and I just love it. I mean, I played the hell out of that. Of course, your basic training, you're limited on what you can do anyway. So that was a big moment. Something I really remember, that, and listening to like, Zombie by the Cranberries. It's like don't go chasing waterfalls. TLC. Yeah. That was my 95 right there.
That's funny. Yeah, I can't wait till you put that arcade carpet in there. That's gonna set your.
Oh, it's happening.
Like it's just triggering nostalgia.
Oh, it's gonna happen. Absolutely.
My wife wants to do that. Like if we had a basement, she just keeps bringing that up. I'm like, okay. Like guys, I'm very blessed to have a wife into it as much as.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. My wife passed me on my head, and she's like, okay, go have your fun. She's not into it. She's happy for me. Yeah.
So does she ever, like, you get in these real arcades, do you ever say, hey, wife, just sit down on Cruising World and just play around real quick?
Yeah. Just the driving cabs, the shooting cabs, everybody can get into. She likes Pac-Man. Bowling for my the XL, the Golden Tee, she likes that. But Pac-Man is something they always gravitate towards, so you got to have at least one of those in your arcade.
Yeah, women. My wife loves like the puzzle fighters.
Oh,
She would
yes.
love Cubert. Yeah,
Yeah.
she loves all of like the puzzly games. Crystal Castles, very
Mhm.
underrated.
Yes.
So far, you're trying to like figure stuff out. Pac-Man, of course.
Mhm.
She's in really into Dig Dug right now. Again, kind of like a puzzly one.
Puzzle, exactly, yeah.
Terry B was saying, "Hey, where's the star of the show? Where's Mrs. Cornercade?" Miss Cornercade, guys,
She's
actually
got more important things to do. Yeah.
she took one for the team tonight. She was trying to get on, but literally as I'm pre-gaming the show with Fox here, my kids were just finishing brushing their teeth and they're all going haywire crazy. I am blessed that she was able to take one for the team and calm the storm down and get this household quiet. I have yet to have my kids just barge in on a stream, and I just know it's going to happen someday. And we're all just going to be here chilling and chatting and doing our thing because
It's fine.
our
Yeah.
kids they have my energy, and they sometimes just can't sleep. But yeah, then she's in bed with a headache right now. But I think she's watching the stream because she said I talk too fast sometimes. It's like you need to slow down.
Never.
Yeah,
Never.
that's the hype juice, man. I'm telling
Uh-huh.
you. Well, I mean, we're at that mark, Fox. I appreciate you staying till 2 hours with us here. We could
No
literally
problem.
go all night, but we got to move the drill, guys. So I appreciate you stopping by. Let's bring the chat down real quick, guys. For everybody tuning in, thank you so much, guys. We had a ton of people tonight for some Home Arcade discussion, and Fox, we got to do this again, man. You're such a cool guy, and I really do
Yeah, I
appreciate.
appreciate it, man.
I really do appreciate you, man, stopping by tonight and just having discussion with us in the community at the end of the day. So.
Well, thanks for having me. I know it's been kind of tough with my travel and all that. So thanks for kind of making some accommodations for me, accepting my hotel Wi-Fi. But everybody, subscribe to the channel. Tune into the Cornercade. I think there's a lot of things going on this channel, other channels, and let's just keep growing the community. Positivity is awesome, and pluses and minuses. It's all in good fun.
Yeah, we got to spread the love, man. That's what I'm positive. But that doesn't mean you can't critique. Like I
No,
told you, hey, we Arcade1up is right there. Just put the real buttons or just get close to it. Some kind of like just get the micro switches right. Get some nice sticks in there, and we are right there, guys. The form factor, games, screens, we're all there. It's very, very close. Very exciting. It's gonna be cool to see what happens in 2024. I'm sure we'll meet up again, Fox. We got a lot to talk about. It's gonna be a big year, I think. Quote unquote big year kind of thing. We'll have lots to talk about as always. So thank you guys for coming into our Chill and Chat episode 13, guys. And you know how we do. We will always see you in the next one. Peace.